And bring myself into the stream. What's going on, everybody? And happy November 24th. It is a great time to be a Marvel fan because we got some crazy news to dive into. We got a new series we're going to talk about. And of course, early Thanksgiving to you all that'll be, joining family and friends tomorrow, having a good time with some food and catching up with some people you probably haven't seen in a while. So it's a good time, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so excited to be back talking about Hawkeye, the new latest series from Disney and Marvel. And like I said, we got some news to talk about too. Of course, there's a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man destroying the conversation on the internet. We got some Ant-Man news we're going to dive into, Blade news, and so much more. So I'm so excited to be here tonight. But hey, before we dive into all that fun stuff and introduce my co-host and our special guest, I want to let you all know to, first and foremost, thank you for tuning in. But if you haven't already, make sure to like the video, share the video. If you're watching the replay, if you can do the same, we'll be greatly appreciated. But more importantly, all of my amazing co-hosts as well as our special guests, make sure you're following them, subscribing to their channels. All their links are in the bio. You won't be disappointed. So with all that being said, I'm so happy to have these two back. They've been there since day one covering these Marvel shows with me, and I'm so excited to be tackling this new series with them on a week-to-week basis with Hawkeye. Starting off with someone that's rocking the purple tonight. It's a little cold where she's at, but she always brings the fire, and I'm so excited to have her on tonight. And we're talking about the one and only Amanda. What's going on?
Hi, I figured, purple's my favorite color, and
Rocking
I think that's what's swaying me to liking Hawkeye. And I should. I think it's just like all the purple.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm freezing. I'm freezing over here. I bought a heater. Yeah, I had to buy a heater. So that's where
it's that time of the year. It's that time of the year. Heaters and blankets and scarves and hoodies, all that stuff. It's that time of the year.
The best.
But Amanda, I'm so excited to have you back on. It's been a journey diving into this phase 4, and it has been even a better of a journey with you and Chris and all the great people we've had on the channel talking about these shows. But hey, Amanda, do us all a favor and let the people at home know where they can find you and what you're all about.
Yeah, well, I'm so happy to be back and talking about Hawkeye this time around with you guys. Or happy early Thanksgiving if you're celebrating tomorrow. But yeah, you guys can always find me over at AMX ND Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. I am a film critic and entertainment journalist. You can check out my website, candidcinema.com. That's where I've been doing all of my reviews right now because I can't keep up with all the things. So getting videos out has been really difficult for me because life gets in the way. So I've been writing a bit more, and you guys can always find me there.
No doubt. I mean, and you've been watching some incredible stuff lately, man. In the last couple weeks, you've been getting some heavy hitters, right?
Yeah,
I know Belfast was one of your recent ones that you really enjoyed.
Fortunately, I watched it at TIFF, so the coverage
gotcha.
has been a bit easier for me. So getting to the movie theater has been a mission, but it's going.
It's going, and we still got so much stuff coming out between the end of this month and obviously December. So it's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff. But again, guys, Amanda, her links are in the bio. Check her out. Her websites, her YouTubes, her Instagrams, her Twitters, all that fun stuff. She is an incredible writer, critic, and just an incredible person. So definitely do yourself a favor and check her out. And that's just one of our co-hosts that we've had on since the beginning of the year. This next gentleman here, big fan of his. So excited to get his thoughts on this series. So excited to just talk to him about all the other stuff we have lined up. Talking about the one and only Chris from Tait. Tait, what's going on, man? How we doing, Chris?
What up?
What up, man?
What's going on, my guy?
Nothing much, man. Just watching Kevin Hart, doing his thing on his new show, and Wesley Snipes. So we'll talk in Blade a little bit later. But man, just living life, man.
Love to hear it, bro. Love to hear it. Really like that Kevin Hart show. I'm not a Kevin Hart fan. I don't think anymore, but he getting me back. I'm back in the fold now.
Hey, he surprised the hell out of me, man. And not to get too much away with that series, but who knows? He might make his way into the MCU with the Antiverse, the movie that was in the show.
Facts. I mean, he already Ant-Man, so hey.
There you go. The original Ant-Man for sure. But Chris, man, why don't you let the fine folks at home know where they can find you and what you're all about, my friend?
Where can you find me? You can find me right here on Elliot's channel every week on Wednesdays. But if you're not around on Wednesdays, you can find me at Tait's Take 24/7. The information, of course, is in the description of this video. I imagine I do movie reviews, TV show reviews. Just to let you know, give you some background. I think it lets you know if it's worth checking out. Been doing that since last year, and just excited. I love Marvel. Marvel is my that's the holy grail of all my content. So love talking Marvel, especially with Amanda and Elliot. So let's get into it.
No doubt, man. And Marvel's been giving us some stuff, man. They took that year off, and we've been
stuff.
getting just a Thanksgiving stuffing. They're giving us the whole platter, man, all year round.
Facts.
And we got a new dessert to talk about with Hawkeye. But again, guys, I just want to take the time and thank Amanda and Chris since the beginning of this year. WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier, Low Key, What If. We talked, Eternals a couple weeks ago. I just couldn't be more appreciative and thankful, since it is a Thanksgiving season, of these two joining me every single week. So I just want to thank you guys. But we've been fortunate enough to have some incredible guests on this journey as well. And this gentleman has been on the channel before, and it's been a while, man. But this guy, you talk about great content, deep dive into some of our favorite movies, new movies that he really adores and breaks down and analyzes to like the highest umpteenth degrees. Such a fan of his, and so excited to pick his brain today on Marvel news and, of course, his Hawkeye series, which I know he's a fan of from the comics. So I'm really excited to see his thoughts on these first 2 episodes. I'm talking about the one, the only Griffin from FilmSpeak. What is going on, my friend?
What's up? Gosh, you're making me blush, dude. What is this every single time? I feel like I'm just I come on here and get showered in praise and love, and I'm just like, I'm not prepared for it, but this is great. I'm so stoked to be back here. Thank you for having me.
So excited, Griff. It's been a while, man. It's been a while, and you've just been killing it lately on the YouTubes, man, with the essays, and it's so excited to hear your thoughts on Marvel, man. But how you been, man? How's things been going on your end?
I've been good. I mean, just like busy, and as we all are, especially during award season, trying to like get in as many films as I can so that I can vote on them for like the critics group I'm in and other stuff. But other than that, I mean, just like planning out December and all the shenanigans that are gonna happen then. I mean, we're all just like looking at December like, oh, okay, this is gonna be a great month. Spider-Man's coming out. We can spin like 5 videos out of it. Like, it's gonna be great. I'm looking forward to it. But I gotta be honest, I feel like the thing that I'm most excited for from Marvel right now is this Hawkeye series. Like, I've been freaking hyped for this thing ever since it was announced. Like you said, I'm a big fan of the Matt Fraction and David Aja run of the comics, and so I'm stoked to be talking about this.
Yeah, man. Hawkeye finally has his time to shine, or does he? Is someone outshining him in his own show? We'll talk about that a little bit later. But Griff, man, why don't you do the fine folks a favor? Let them know where FilmSpeak can be found and all the great content you have lined up for them, man.
Sure, yeah. So you can head on over to YouTube, just search FilmSpeak, and you can see all the video essays and deep dives we have over there. The most recent one we put out was on Spencer, which is one of my favorite films of the year, and then we should have one, coming out on The Amazing Spider-Man 2 in like a week or so, which is my personal favorite live action Spider-Man. Spider-Verse obviously is kind of like the best Spider-Man ever made. But anyway, so it's gonna be a very exciting video that I'm incredibly proud of. Been working on it for a very long time. So hopefully you dig it. And then you can also follow us on socials @_FilmSpeak, or me personally @Griff Schiller.
No doubt. And you guys didn't mishear him. He did say Spider-Man 2. Amazing Spider-Man is his, one of his favorite live action Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He didn't start, ladies and gentlemen.
And he's fine with that opinion.
hot takes, I know.
Listen.
Hey, I love it, Griff. And your boy, and we'll talk about Spider-Man here in a second, especially Andrew Garfield. I feel so bad for him. And just
my man.
the actor just putting on some acting chops in the public right now. But listen, guys, again, for Amanda, Chris, and Griffin, again, their links are in the bio, guys. Check out their content. Such great content. You guys will not be disappointed. Do yourself a favor and do so. But listen, we got some stuff to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. Some Marvel news. This last week was just like, seems to be like some dry weeks, and out of nowhere, trailers, TV spots, casting news, and Marvel just knows how to do it. So the first thing that I want to kind of talk to you all about, starting with you, Amanda, we talked Blade a couple weeks ago. Again, we talked about kind of how, I don't know if it's just me, how underwhelming that first appearance of Blade was in Eternals. Full spoilers for that post-credit scene. It has been confirmed that voice at the end was Mahershala Ali. I thought that was kind of a very underwhelming way to bring in this character I'm excited for. But nonetheless, we're slowly but surely getting some casting news. We got a director. We got a writer. We obviously have the leading man in Mahershala Ali, but also we have an incredible actor in Delroy Lindo joining the cast. Right now, his character hasn't been revealed. Some people are speculating he's going to be a character by the name of Jamal, who's essentially the Whistler of the story before, we obviously got Whistler in the movies with Wesley Snipes. So that's apparently who's going to be playing, but whoever he's playing, I'm excited for it. So the question I have for you, Amanda, is just as far as excitement level for Blade? You know, we got Moon Knight coming out next year. We got Werewolf by Night coming out next year, and I'm hoping that we're gonna get some Blade, news in the next coming weeks in regards to release date. But your thoughts on Blade, and of course, this casting of the Legend with Delroy.
I am so excited. I actually like dropped my phone when the notification came out that Delroy was cast. So I was really excited. And I think because the Oscars shafted him for the Five Bloods, I think he's like, I'm just going to go have fun now and do whatever the hell I want. So yeah, like in The Harder They Fall, he was like so great. And now like him being cast in Blade is like awesome. So I think he's just gonna have fun, and we're gonna have fun because he's gonna kill it. So
he definitely is. I mean, this is another home run by Marvel. They always seem to, when you think they casted everyone in the movie, it's like, oh yeah, there's another Oscar actor out there they can add to the lineup. But tossing it to you, Chris, in regards to, again, we talked Blade with Eternals, and now we're getting more of these casting news. Are you getting more and more excited for this? And of course, with this, Delroy being attached to the project, what's your anticipation for this film, man?
Yeah, I mean, it's high, but it's like, where is it? And so it's like, I'm not trying to get ahead. There's so much stuff in between it. So in between us and Blade, so I'm like, it'll be fine. Like when we get there. So I'm not like, I don't think about it often because you'll just go crazy. Right. But big fan of Delroy. I've said the same thing about the Five Bloods and The Harder They Fall. And especially last year, like the Five Bloods came out in 2020. So it's like, what is your competition to be not even like talked about for that award? Yeah, so that's tough, but maybe it's just one of these, like maybe I'll have to make up for it, in the future down the line, like DiCaprio or fucking Will Smith or one of these things. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure the cast is going to be great. Ali's he's an anchor. And then I saw the Wesley Snipes co-signed tweet. So all systems go.
Hey man. Wesley Snipes, I'm gonna need some type of cameo, especially after coming off of seeing him in the last couple of years. He's ready to make a comeback, man.
The tweet sounded like no chance. Like it was like he's like, oh yeah, you're making a new Blade too. Yeah, sounds cool. It was so. I mean, but of course there's time. But like,
oh yeah. That's just he doesn't have to be a big character. Just like a little acknowledgement of him, maybe, and just screen presence would be pretty good to see. But fine. Griff, man, just your thoughts. So rewinding to the Eternals, just your thoughts on how they first introduced Blade to the MCU off camera, and hearing his voice, and then of course your thoughts on just how this film's shaping up, this new casting news, and where are you at with this film, man, as far as anticipation?
Yeah, so funnily enough, the first time I saw Eternals and the first time I heard that voice, I was like, oh, that sounds like Jeffrey Wright. Like, what? Why the hell would he be in here? Like, the Watcher, they're going to bring him over, but that doesn't really make sense. And then a bunch of us critics were sort of like talking afterwards about the post-credit scene, and then someone was like, oh, no, that's Mahershala as Blade. And then we were all like, oh, yeah, that would make sense given the fact that, Kit's playing whatever it is, Black Knight or something like that. And I guess the two kind of have crossover. So yeah, it would make sense. But it was also just like, why didn't you show him? Like, why was it such a secret? Like, of all the things that you had to like play close to the chest and just like tease a little bit, like it's not gonna register for most people. People are just gonna be like, what the hell is that voice? And then they're just not gonna think about it anymore. So
it's true.
Really, like, strange decision to like tease the character that way, but other than that, I mean, I'm really, really excited for Mahershala as Blade. Yeah, the film, or it's a film, right? It's not a show, right? It's a film.
Yeah, no, it's a film, and we're still kind of, is it going to be rated R, PG-13? We'll see what that comes. But it's a film right now.
Yeah, I mean, other than Mahershala, I'm not like jumping out of my chair for the film, although I am curious to see how they can sort of like update Blade in a sense. I mean, it's going to be really, for as dated as those original three films are, the second one specifically has a lot of like practicality and like aesthetic to it. I mean, it's Guillermo del Toro, so it's like it's going to be kind of hard to match that. So I'll be curious to see what direction they go in with Blade. The casting of Delroy Lindo, just again, Marvel isn't new to getting Oscar caliber talent like that. Everyone is willing to work with Marvel in some capacity because it's the biggest thing on the planet right now, and there's like a variety of things that they can kind of do in that sandbox. So I mean, it's cool. I'm really excited to see Delroy and Mahershala play off of each other.
Yeah,
and that really excites me. But again, it just sort of comes down to the the direction, the vibe they're going for, the the aesthetic, how violent is it going to be, how much are they going to play into horror. That's what I'm concerned about. We've seen before with Marvel, they can have the best actors. Literally, look at Eternals. They can have the best actors on the planet, some of the most notable, charismatic people out there, and the movie can suck. And I think that's exactly what happened with,
I knew that
with
was
Eternals.
coming.
So not to get in a fist fight here, but yeah, Eternals, not a great film, but it had A-list level talent behind and in front of the camera, so that doesn't necessarily interest me. It all comes down to direction and script.
100%, man. Again, it's going to be very interesting to see how they handle rated R or not, because we're talking, this isn't aliens and we're talking vampires. So I don't know if Marvel's going to come up with some other way of showing blood. If it's like you stab them in the heart and they just, turn into butterflies. I don't know. We'll see what they decide to do with that. But nonetheless, this round sound, going around the table before we wrap this up, Amanda, we heard his voice in Eternals, but when do you think we'll physically see Blade on screen? Is it going to be a solo outing? Word around town that he might pop up in Moon Knight, something else in between. When do you think we'll physically see him on screen first?
I'm hoping it's Moon Knight, because you don't tease him like that in Eternals and then not have him show up in something that's supposed to come out soon. Like, you can't hold that whatsoever. So I do think it's going to be at Moon Knight, hopefully. And it can be like a great reveal like Jonathan Majors in Loki. I want that to happen for him.
That would be sweet. Like coming in last minute and having Kit maybe on his side with Ebony Blade, taking on some Dracula maybe. Chris, man, your thoughts on when you think we're going to physically see him on screen? Is it something obscure like a Guardians film or something like, more connected to supernatural like Moon Knight?
Yeah, not sure. I think Marvel listens to the fans in a weird way. So I feel like they would have heard the feedback of like, us being like, why didn't you just show him in Eternals?
Right.
Because then like even if you don't show his face, like at least like a little Inspector Gadget, like little like hand thing, or like something that's like doesn't even show his face, but it's like, okay, that's Blade, the coat or the jacket or whatever.
Right.
That would have been cool. So like I think because of that, like they'll get him in sooner than later. And then maybe they wanted to, and then he couldn't be there, or they couldn't film it or whatever. Like maybe that was their idea. And maybe we'll hear that in the future some down the line. And speaking of Guardians, though, randomly, when the first trailer the first post-credit scene for Eternals was coming before Aros, what's his name?
Star Fox, Harry Styles character.
Yeah. So before he came out, when you saw the little like light, someone in the audience was like, "It's the Guardians," and I was like, "Damn, the Guardians! That's crazy." So people are all over the place with these post-credits in my theater. But like I said last time, I was the first person who said that was Mahershala Ali. I said that's Blade.
There you go.
So, on my tombstone, it's going to be like
the first one.
That is Mahershala Ali. Rest in peace.
There you go, man. Griff, man, same question for you, my friend, in regards to right now, it's slated to come out, I want to say 2023, I would imagine, with all the stuff they have ahead of time, planned ahead. But again, just looking at the calendar, we have, obviously Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Black Panther 2, and a couple other movie or series coming out. Do we see him in any of those projects, or is it just first time we see him as in his debut on his own film?
I have to believe that they're gonna find a way. What do I think it's gonna be? I think it would make sense, right? If it was Morbius, right? That would make sense, and then it would sort of continue the shared partnership between Sony and Marvel. But I don't know if they want to cross that bridge with the first introduction of Blade. But I mean, I don't know. That just feels like a missed opportunity not to go that route. So, and look, I mean, Morbius has been finished for a while. Mahershala has been cast for a very long time. So you would have to think that maybe one of the reasons is because they're going to sort of tease that in the Morbius movie. I'm just like kind of shocked with all the Sony leaks going on that's something that, if it is true, that's something that hasn't leaked out.
Very true.
Really, nothing regarding Morbius has really leaked out, which I'm kind of impressed about, considering all the Spider-Man.
So it's like, this is a movie coming out sometime soon. Get excited for it.
Maybe people just don't care. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
Yeah. No, but that's a good point. If not Morbius, maybe Doctor Strange, and probably Moon Knight. My thing with Moon Knight is I kind of want it to be like its own thing.
Its own thing, yeah.
I don't really want all these other characters being like thrown in there or whatnot.
Yeah.
So if Blade is going to make an appearance in there, I want it to be very minimal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really don't know. I assume we'll see him in something, a post-credit scene or something before his film comes out. Yeah.
No, I think you're right. I think, with the character, I think the only other character that we hadn't gotten any on screen before they got their movie was Doctor Strange. He wasn't seen in any other MCU films prior to his film, and also Shang-Chi most recently. He wasn't even mentioned in any of the MCU before we saw him, but obviously we see Blade is now in the MCU with Eternals. It just only makes sense that we'll see him again before his own solo out. And I think you're so right, Griff, with the idea of Moby. That would be interesting because obviously vampire and maybe a little post stinger and have him come in and try to take him out. I don't know how that. I don't know if Marvel, because you mentioned, I don't know if Marvel will be like so open-handed to be like, we'll give us your characters, right? But I don't know if they want to do the same for them. We'll see how that relationship continues to prosper.
Like, what if part of like that film needed Morbius? Like, what if part of Blade's first film needed Morbius? Like, he's hunting him or something along those lines or whatnot. Yeah. Like, it feels like that would be a necessary component for a Blade story in some capacity. I don't really know because I don't really read those comics. So if you read the comics, please inform us in the comment section. But I don't know. Like, you have the most popular vampire character in Marvel Comics. Have him cross over with Blade. Yeah. So I don't know.
We'll see, man. And again, I like the Moon Knight too because I can't wait to see who Ethan Hawke is playing. But apparently, some people are speculating that he might be a Dracula-ish type of character, which would be. I mean, listen, Ethan Hawke is Dracula. Sign me up. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, let us know in the comments if you're watching the replay and watching this live again. Appreciate every single one of you all joining in. Let us know your thoughts on this casting, your excitement for Blade, and when you think we will see the Daywalker make his actual debut on screen in the near future. So we got to transition over to this guy here. I mean, Spider-Man has been talk of the town for I don't know how long now. We jokingly said we off screen, we pretty much know what the movie's going to be at this point. And hopefully there's going to be some surprises, which I think there will be. But Amanda, since the last time we spoke, which was a couple weeks ago with Eternals, we got a new trailer. And about 1,000 new TV spots as well. So just checking in with you on just again your overall thoughts of the trailer that came out last week, and how excited were you when we didn't see any of the Spider-Man on screen, even though there's little Easter eggs of a lizard's head getting twisted the other way, he's getting punched by air, and all the little things that people have pointed out in their detailed trailer breakdowns. But where are you at now with this film, and what did you think about last week's debut trailer?
First of all, I love that the Spidey fans are like little detectives and we're like, we're going to prove you wrong because these two other people are in this damn movie. I don't care what you guys say. So first of all, I love them for that.
Yeah.
But I personally think that it was the best decision to not have them in the trailer and then give those little nods because I was just as hyped. When Doctor Strange says they're breaking through and I can't stop them. I'm like, we know who they are. We're just, it was so good. I was screaming. It was it was just a fun trailer to watch. To see Jamie Foxx again as Electro properly. I'm sorry, Griff, but I didn't like the blue at all.
Nobody did.
Birthday missing.
Sorry,
Electro.
Made me turn off my camera for a second.
He looks better. He looks better. But I love the trailer. Really enjoyed it. We get more Goblin. Goblin's the star of my show, to be perfectly honest, because I love him so much. To hear him, oh my God, his voice in the trailer, that was amazing. Phenomenal. I do hope that there are some surprises because a certain someone that I had to block over Venom spoilers kind of says something again about about the movie, and I'm like, now I know everything, so just mute as much as you can. I was really disappointed because something else got spoiled for me, and I'm tired. I'm so tired. So tag your spoilers, mute everyone.
Seriously,
or maybe just don't really put
bad. People notable. Anyways, this is a whole other.
This is Twitter. You can't ask for that on Twitter.
You can't. They don't care.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really excited for it. I'm trying to block everything out. I think they did a really good job keeping them out of the trailer. And yeah, I'm still hyped. We're doing the promotion for them. We're doing the marketing for them. They're not spending any money on this thing. Like,
yeah, if Andrew Garfield doesn't get a best actor nomination for his
telling you, man,
for all of the press he's had to do, you got to think about this, right? He signed up for this film probably not even knowing that he was going to have two major awards films released this year in Tick, Tick, Boom and The Eyes of Tammy Faye. Like, what are the fucking odds? Like, the year that he's like trying to promote like this incredible, biopic that he's super proud of, that means a lot to him, and it's the year that he also is going to return as Spider-Man. Like, God love him. I really feel so bad for that guy. It's crazy.
Same.
He's been doing I don't envy him, I'll tell you that, but it's definitely has to be a hard time to kind of keeping dodging those questions. But I mean, toss it to you, Griffin, in regards to the Andrew Garfield, the rumors out there, and just your overall thoughts just from the marketing in the film, the leaks of the film, the trailer. We're less than a month away. We gotten the confirmation of all the villains, at least all 5 of them. There's been so many rumors of who's going to be in it and who's not going to be in it. But where do you stand as far as your anticipation level for this big film?
Really weird, because like I should be way more excited than I am, and I can't really figure out if it's because I know so much about the movie or if it's just because I just genuinely don't care because it kind of comes across as a gimmick. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm going to be freaking out in the movie if I see Andrew Garfield come back as Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire come back as Spider-Man. But I think like everything you're hearing about this film is like, oh, they're bringing these characters back. Oh, they're bringing these actors back. And it's like, that is the draw. That's the appeal here. No one is talking about Tom Holland or the story here.
Exactly.
And actually, that trailer, I feel like I saw like a glimmer of potential for what the story could be for Peter, and that interests me. But like some of the other stuff, like Doctor Strange, I'm like, whatever, that's fine. That Scooby-Doo line is fucking stupid. It makes it actually makes no sense. Like what is he trying to say? I don't really understand. Like,
what if that's not actually Doctor Strange, Griff?
That's the rumor out there, especially after
I've
What
heard
If.
that rumor, and I just then that just cheapens it even more. It's I don't know. I feel like it'll be a film that I'm just like super skeptical on, that I think is probably not going to be very good, but I think I'm definitely going to enjoy watching it in a theater, kind of like I do like a Transformers movie or something like that. But with a little more like nostalgia.
Right.
I don't know. You would think that after making a film like Spider-Verse that they could figure out a way to translate that to live action, and it feels like it just feels like a giant mess. And I'm sorry, I don't have the utmost faith in John Watts as a filmmaker to really pull
That's
this
the
off.
secret sauce.
He just even though like I like stuff in Far From Home and I like stuff in Homecoming, I still can't tell you what a John Watts movie is, what it feels like, what it looks like. It just, I feel like it's a film that probably would have been a lot better if you had a more seasoned filmmaker at the helm, a visionary, someone who like can balance character and like excess and all this stuff really, really well. Honestly, I would be more excited for this film if Sam Raimi was directing it than John Watts, just because you have that Spider-Man connection already or something like that. Look, I don't know. The thing that did get me a little excited, and I don't know if you guys saw this, was that Raimi and Mark Webb were both consulted.
I saw that article,
Which is actually, a rumor, I guess, technically at this point, but we know it's true. That excited me because it showed that they were putting they were trying. They were going to put care into the arcs for these new characters the returning characters that they're bringing back in. So that gives me a little bit of hope. I don't know. The trailer itself was fine. It was better than the first one, but I still am just sort of like, I think I just have to see this thing before I really figure out how I feel.
Well said, man. And the point you bring up with John Watts, that's the thing too. Two things that's kind of been forgotten about with the marketing and kind of the excitement level is Tom Holland. Yes, even the most recent TV spot I saw today, it's pretty much alluding that Tom Holland's going to have to capture these villains, and him and Doctor Strange are going to have a little bit of a misunderstanding of what they should do with the villains, and them having their faith with all that. But what about, again,
Yeah.
Tom Holland's secret identity being out there and the stuff we've gotten from his two
Yeah.
previous films and cleaning up
Yeah.
house from, this storyline. And the point you bring up with John Watts is something very interesting because we know Marvel announced a couple years ago, I don't know if people forgot, but he's going to be the one helming Fantastic Four. So there has to be some type of faith in this film that Kevin Feige and the guys at Marvel has in him and delivering a grandiose in-game of Spider-Man to introduce Marvel's first family. So
Yeah,
maybe Griff, this is his stamp, his marquee film to get him to put his style out there.
maybe. I maybe I'm a little just jaded in this, but I feel like John Watts was selected for Fantastic Four because he's someone that just Kevin Feige can kind of like manipulate. He's like he's very much like a company man. In which case I go, well, maybe Kevin Feige should just direct these movies or some of these movies, right? Like if Kevin Feige is so passionate about Fantastic Four and is basically going to be not micromanaging, but like, just having the company man do Kevin Feige's wishes, then maybe he should be the one directing these films. I don't know, but I don't know.
We'll see. In less than a month, we'll see if John Watts can step up to the plate and handle all these crazy theories. But Chris, man, tossing to you again. The trailer dropped last week. What was where are you at now with the film in regards to not seeing any of the other Spider-Man, seeing the Scooby-Doo line, seeing Tom Holland maybe getting forgotten in the shuffle? Just where are you at with the film, knowing that it's coming out in like 3 weeks?
I think it's absolutely nonsense for the fans to be able to pick this thing apart and find out inconsistencies about missing
It's amazing.
I think it's absolutely ridiculous that a kid on Reddit can just pick your fucking Disney trailer apart and find your mistakes. And we've been waiting so long for this trailer. What are you doing in the time in between? Like, why don't you just make a trailer and then say, hey, nerds, find something wrong with this and before we put it out? Like when Google hires those hackers to fucking work for them, like do that.
Do the same thing for the trailer. Yeah.
So
It's true.
Again, I feel almost probably 98% of what Griff already said, so I'm not gonna waste nobody's time. It's like I recorded myself. I'm waiting for like that epic trailer moment where it's like it's not there. It's like I did not like the first trailer at all. This trailer, the second trailer is way better, of course, but still, like there was no moments where I was just like, let's go. Like the only moment I had was when I saw Jamie Foxx and I was like, oh fuck. This only because of the PTSD. And again, I mentioned this when we talked about Eternals.
Yeah.
Like when I sat down to watch, I don't even know what it was, maybe Dune, and that Batman trailer came on, and I've seen it a million times, and I still felt that energy. I was just like,
level. Yeah, it's a different level.
And and y'all the DC people, and I'm like, this is how you do a trailer. Like, I've seen the trailer already, and I'm still getting like, I'm of
it's
course
a mini movie within itself.
Crazy.
Yeah, within a
trailer.
trailer.
I'm like, this is how you do a trailer.
Awesome.
Like, I don't need Andrew Garfield to swing in for the trailer to have a crazy moment. I don't need that. Nor do I seek it. But just not that crazy of a trailer.
You just want like cool stuff, right? You
want
cool shots, action. Yeah.
Like what? Like nothing from that trailer would be like, okay, like you could have just picked like just different clips from every Spider-Man movie we've already seen. Like there's nothing that's like new or exciting. And then Strange is acting strange. Very strange. So very strange.
Wow.
That's highbrow comedy. The last thing I'll say is I don't know if y'all heard about the glitch in AMC, how they released tickets at the kiosk in AMC's.
Oh no,
for Spider-Man.
No.
So I saw it last night on Reddit.
Oh,
Reddit gets you right.
Hey,
so they were like, the biggest theater in the country, Lincoln was my theater. So like they're like, yo, if you go down there, you can get a ticket right now. But it was yesterday, and I'm seeing the Reddit earlier today, and I'm like, I gotta watch Hawkeye. I'll finish that.
Yeah.
I go down there, and then they're already gone. I'm looking on Reddit, and they edited, not sold out, but like they corrected the error. But a lot of theaters across the nation like they had the tickets available on kiosk, not the app, not anything else. Like I guess I don't know how this happens, but someone discovered this glitch, and I don't know how many tickets. And also I realized that they're not doing Thursday night; they're just doing Friday. Like
they have to do Thursday.
Because on the AMC app, they have a 9 a.m. Friday show. They have a full day of movies, and they don't have a Thursday, unless that's just like whatever. From everything I can see online, it's just Friday morning on. Because normally, if you have a Thursday night, I guess would you have a 9 a.m. Friday?
I worked at a theater before. We had one at 1 a.m. in the morning for Star Wars on the Thursday.
Holy
Yeah.
And
shit.
then we had 9 a.m. I worked straight through that. It was a shit
And that's
show.
the
It
old
was
days where they had
terrible.
where like there weren't like early
Yeah.
afternoon
Right.
previews,
Right.
theaters,
Yeah.
preview
Yeah.
shows. So
It was
so
like-
then if it only was Friday, then if there is a Thursday, then there's more tickets available for the Thursday night show.
100%.
But as it stands now,
Yeah.
it only shows the Friday, which
Friday.
normally they would show you the actual date.
Yeah.
Man,
Unless that's another.
I'm
weird.
convinced that this thing is not going to screen for critics. I'm actually convinced that they're not going to have a press screening for this. It's just
Wouldn't that
gonna
be unprecedented?
Honestly, I hope they don't. No offense. I'm just saying.
Well, doesn't the
No,
UK
yeah.
doesn't the
'Cause-
UK have it a week early before us?
No,
Or
they
like
get it
the
2
US?
days early.
2 days early.
2 days.
They
Yeah.
get on the 15th.
Oh, well, then
yeah.
if they're doing that, then they should
Yeah.
be doing press screenings.
Press
I'm sorry.
screenings,
If you're
yeah.
going to release it internationally, like two
Which I'll
days
never
beforehand.
understand how another country would get a movie before
Well,
the country
I
that
hate
it
when
came
that
out.
happens.
Talk about
Yeah.
blocking
Yeah.
Twitter. Make sure you do that.
I personally just don't want
Don't even go on your phone.
spoilers
Yeah.
like 2
I'm
days
canceling my
before.
internet for
Yeah,
2
just
days.
It's
all
just-
phone and,
And
trash. Yeah.
that's the only reason why I say, like, if there are press screenings, like what happened with Eternals, like there's that one person
yeah, with the
that's good,
post-credits
and
scene,
that's
yeah.
like what I'm worried about. But like if they do press screenings, it should be like 2 days before at least,
Yeah.
not like
Yeah.
like 2 weeks or something like
In
that,
advance,
because then
yeah.
you know
No,
stuff
for sure.
stuff and things happen, and we're all gonna
mhm.
we're
Yeah.
gonna lose it. It's already happening.
Yeah.
But like
Because if next week is December, I guess and I've never been to a Marvel screening, so like I guess you guys would have already heard rumblings
Heard
maybe
some
by now.
rumblings of a
Well,
date in mind.
Yeah, if this was a normal Marvel movie and not like the end game of Spider-Man films, they probably would have already screened it by now, actually, if I'm being honest. So I think yeah, they'll probably do what they did with Star Wars, and it'll be the week of. I think I saw The Rise of Skywalker the week of release. I saw Endgame the week of release. So that seems to be standard operating procedure for like these big hype movies. I don't know. I mean, maybe they're gonna like lock down more on it just because it's this movie. I don't know. I feel like the more you try and like bottle it in and close it off from people,
less-
the
You're
the
right.
worse it's gonna be.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be like people are gonna be. I don't know. I feel like it's gonna have the exact opposite effect that they're hoping that it's going to have. I mean, my God, the fans are already like hyping it as like the greatest thing ever made now.
It will never
never live up
meet
to that.
anyone's expectations. It will never.
No.
Yeah.
what happens if like people are disappointed? Like, are they gonna be like
If.
Going to be.
pitchforks?
There will be some
like
disappointment.
pitchforks in the street. Like that's what I'm envisioning right now after that comes out.
Canceling Spider-Man.
Here's what I hope. I hope that whatever happens in this movie, that it allows a Raimi Spider-Man 4 to happen and a Mark Webb The Amazing
Yes.
Spider-Man 3 to happen, and then that's it.
big
It'll
dreams.
never. I mean, look, like why not have multiple Spider-Men, right?
I
Like you've
love
had
this.
multiple Batman, you've
Yeah,
had like
yeah.
multiple like whatever. So use the multiverse in your favor to be able to do like new and interesting things like that.
Yeah.
Introduce a Miles Morales as well. Like for crying out loud, why
Yeah.
is he still not in these films? It just blows my mind.
I know.
Hey, the spider conversation continues, ladies and gentlemen, because there's so much more. And like I said, this conversation has happened even prior to the film coming out. So imagine the discord once the film comes out,
Lord.
whether it's the all the leaks that's been out there being confirmed or not seeing certain characters. This will be one of the most talked about films probably since Endgame, for better or for worse.
I'm dreading the comment sections.
It's
I'm like
gonna be-
literally dreading the comment sections for
gonna be
whatever the takes are going to be. It's just going to be ridiculous.
Well, let's switch into maybe the smallest MCU character out there. And I know Griff and Amanda love this character to death. It's like top tier, number one. Can't get any better. Maybe the best trilogy of all time as they stick to landing. We're talking about Ant-Man, ladies and gentlemen. Just
Let's
the other
go.
day, the director, Peyton Reed, came out and said that they have wrapped about principal photography. And this is quick. This is a pretty, no, I don't say quick turnaround, but you talk about under no leaks, just kind of doing its own thing. They shot back in the end of July, and now they're done with principal photography. And the film's coming out, I believe, in February of 2023. So, Amanda, knowing how much you love Scott Lang and the whole gang, what are you looking forward to the most with this film? And also, a question I have for you also, with this film having a little bit more production in place than such as a Black Panther 2, should Marvel make a little bit of a switcheroo with those two films to give Black Panther a little bit more time, especially with this whole Letitia Wright being stuck in London and all the stuff going on with that film? What's your thoughts on Quantumania?
I'm so excited. This like little picture alone with like Wasp on his head. I'm like, yes, teamwork. I love them so much. I miss them. I want them back. I'm really excited to see how they're gonna bring Kang in because like I don't even know what's gonna happen with that. I'm just scared for Scott. I really am, but I'm excited to see what's happening with that. I do agree. I think they should flip it because you can't really. They've already delayed all of the films like either a month or so, but then that also comes with like the post-credit scenes are tied in where you're going to place that. But I would switch it and just kind of postpone Black Panther as much as they can until they clear this, because like this is a big deal and they're like so much money is going into this film as well, and like you want to make it perfect, especially if they're if they're going to honor Chadwick as well. Like you don't want to fumble the ball on this one. So yeah, I'd flip it, and I'm excited for the fam. I'm excited for the fam. That's it. I'm so pumped. I really am.
It's a film that I'm actually really excited for, because with the addition of Jonathan Majors as Kang, but also Cassie Lang going to be a little bit bigger character in there, as well as Wasp and all the other stuff. But Chris, man, I know me and you are with Amanda and Griff being big fans of it, but just kind of your thoughts on this film, and especially now with Kang being in the mix. Are you excited for this? Are you anticipating this to be one of the best third movies in the MCU out there?
What is the competition, really? It's not a lot. I don't think it'll be the best trilogy, but I am looking forward to it. Kang, exactly. Kang, of course, doesn't hurt. That just adds another level of it. We saw just even that little small taste on a Disney Plus TV show, what that could look like. So I think it should be dope. Ant-Man was one of those surprise movies, Guardians type movie, Doctor Strange type movie, where I was just like, okay, this is well done. So yeah, we shall see.
We shall see. Griff, man, tossing to you again. I know you're a big fan of this franchise. Your thoughts on if Marvel should do a switcheroo, especially knowing that Kang was just introduced in Loki. We're still in the multiverse with Spider-Man, Doctor Strange. To then have another multiverse film a year later seems a little bit weird. But again, like Amanda said, they have all their chronological post-credit scenes that probably ties into everything. But your thoughts on maybe switching the date, and also just your anticipation level for this Quantumania?
Yeah, the date. I mean, whatever with that. I don't know. Whenever it comes out, I'll be down to see it. That's cool. I'm glad that it wrapped filming. It seemed like it was a pretty smooth process. I mean, Peyton Reed seems to just know how to make these movies and knows how to make them well. So, I mean, look, like the last couple of times I've been on here, I have been stoked out of my mind for this film. I think that it's going to be a lot of fun. The Ant-Man movies are the most consistent movies, I think, in the MCU. They know exactly what they're doing, and they do it really well, and they know how to, tell really compelling character stories as well. So I'll just be sort of like curious to see how that kind of evolves in this quantum mania madness sort of thing. And like, how Kang is going to, tie into this whole thing, because he sort of seems like a villain that's a little too big for this franchise. Like, not that like Ant-Man doesn't deserve like these big villains or whatnot. I mean, Hank Pym in the comics, is obviously a very big part of like the Marvel universe. But I don't know. I'll be curious to see what happens. But I'm just very excited for it. I miss Paul Rudd. I miss Evangeline Lilly as Wasp. Yeah, Sexiest Man Alive 2021.
Revotes.
Facts. No revote. It's the truth.
Yeah,
right?
no revote. Yeah.
No revote.
I will say, though, it was really funny going from watching something like The Shrink Next Door to seeing that and then being like, oh, yes, that's the real Paul Rudd, not this really shady therapist.
It's true.
But I'm stoked for it. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to first off learn more about what the story is going to dive into, and like CG mentioned, I think we're going to get some hints of Fantastic Four. Again, Griff, you can attest to this with the whole rumor of Peyton Reed at one point having a script out there for the film and wanting to really direct the Fantastic Four. So I think it's only right that Marvel would give him a little taste of what his Fantastic Four would look like if he were able to introduce them to the MCU for the first time. And hopefully it's not like we just hear their voices off screen.
Not
see the family.
Well, the
but
other
yeah.
thing is like Reed Richards and the rest of the Fantastic Four, like there is like a relationship there with like Hank Pym, the Ant-Man side of things. So I think bringing the Fantastic Four into the equation through an Ant-Man film is probably the most logical way to go about things.
Yep.
Whether it's like a post-credit scene, the end of the movie, something like that. Whatever happens, I just don't want it to undercut the Ant-Man movie. I think a lot of these Phase 4 projects are undercutting the story of the hero that we're supposed to be following by having these like add-ons in, right? Like the extra Spider-Man, these just random characters that are going to show up, Blade and Moon Knight, or just all the shenanigans going on in Doctor Strange too. I just it's all really cool on a surface level, but like from a storytelling perspective, I just don't want it to take away from furthering the journey of the characters that the films are really about.
I agree, man. And it would be pretty, going back to this whole Reed Richards thing, I would love if they would cast Reed Richards as someone that's going to maybe be an Ant-Man. Him, since we know it's such a family-oriented film, him trying to get his family out of the Quantumanium and obviously connections to Kang. It would be really cool if we get some hints of Fantastic Four, some way, somehow in that film. But hey, we got almost 2 years to see what Marvel cooks up with that film. But the way things moves, it'll be here in a blink of an eye. But that is all the big news that we got in MCU, ladies and gentlemen. We got a new show to kind of dive into that I'm really excited to get you guys' thoughts on, the comments, and of course our panel here. So guys, before we dive into this Hawkeye discussion, we're talking full spoilers. So if you haven't seen the episode, do yourself a favor. It's on Disney Plus. Check it out and come back and join the conversation. So Amanda, before we get into this discussion here, and we've talked about it at the beginning of the year as far as like what shows we're most anticipating. As the months went by, as the days go by, as the shows come out, Hawkeye has finally arrived. What were you looking forward to the most in this series, and just your general take on these first 2 episodes before we kind of dive deeper into it?
I don't care about Clint Barton. I'm just saying it. I've said it from before. I don't. That's what it is. I'm more excited to watch Kate Bishop. I think Haley Steinfeld is an amazing young actress, and she killed it in the first 2 episodes. I'm really excited to see how she grows alongside Clint. But yeah, this for me, it's like that's who I'm excited to watch. I didn't really get excited for Hawkeye until the Black Widow post-credit scene, because then I'm like, oh, this lovely person is going to show up. So I was like, that's making me happy. But it's I'm excited to watch it because it's a new Marvel show,
right?
To see where it goes. But like Kate Bishop for me right now is like, that's where my heart is going into every single episode for the rest of the upcoming weeks.
Hey, well said, Amanda. Chris, same thing for you, man. As far as, I guess, where are you at as a Hawkeye fan, as far as in the MCU so far? And of course, after seeing these first 2 episodes, is Clint Barton your number 1 Avenger now, as well as Kate Bishop, a new Rookie of the Year?
No, Hawkeye will never be my number 1 Avenger.
It's Sam Wilson, though.
We all know that.
Happy holidays to everybody except Sam Wilson. No, I talked about it in our Eternals discussion. I never cared for Hawkeye, but I never disliked him like I did Sam. Like, he was just always like, okay, that's cool. It's cool to have like the human elements, among these gods, so I like when they went to his house and then you met his family and all that, and you did connect to him, losing his family. So I felt the connection. I didn't care about the TV show. I just recognized that it would probably be like good, but it is so far indeed better than I thought it would be. So this girl is doing very well. And someone told the internet in their review, like it felt kind of like Netflix MCU-y. But to me, it felt like a movie MC. It felt like official. Like, it looked good. I thought, like, maybe the fire looked kind of cheesy, but like overall, it felt like theatrical. Like, it didn't feel like a TV show.
Okay, interesting. Griff, man, same for you again. Knowing that you have, personal connections to reading the Matt for Action run and just kind of where you were at going into this series. Did you anticipate Clint to get his own, his spotlight for the MCU the first time, and now, of course, introducing Kate Bishop? How do you feel about her introduction? Of course, just your general takes on the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, so I don't think I ever anticipated this specific run of Hawkeye being adapted, but I'm glad it is because it's a great run. And of course, it's not going to be like a direct adaptation. Marvel's going to put their own spin on it. Going back to what Chris was saying, I feel like I actually thought that this felt like the most television out of the shows. Like, not that it looked cheap or anything like that. It just felt like it was a series, you know? Which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I think that's like something that we should be allowed to embrace and accept, is like if something feels like a television show. I don't think that cheapens it by any means. So it's just like by saying that, for sure, I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I did get Marvel Netflix vibes, I think, just because it's like real people who don't necessarily have like special abilities doing stuff in New York, but it's like way milder for sure. It doesn't hit the grittiness levels of those Marvel Netflix shows, which that's fine. I'm not expecting this show to. Even the run in the comics is pretty lighthearted to an extent. So yeah, I just really going into this, I didn't have any expectations. Obviously, I just wanted them to do the run justice. And the first 2 episodes, I was like, yeah, okay, I'm seeing callbacks to like some of the first couple of issues in the comic run. I'm like really on board with a lot of this. It was just like refreshing to focus on or to have a story that focuses on people who are real people. Just, you know, specifically with Clint. I mean, I obviously Kate Bishop. It's the Kate Bishop show here, which is fine. I have complicated feelings about it. I almost wish that the first half of this season was more about Clint, because he's never had his own thing, so it's like let him flourish, tell like an interesting story there. Back half of the season is more about Kate Bishop. Again, sort of how the comics do it. I think that's just a nice way to sort of like bridge the 2 characters and stuff. But regardless, I just really liked seeing a really straightforward story that has like a great aesthetic, and I actually felt like we were in New York for a lot of it. That was really cool. The Christmas, you know, vibe is great, and I think it also kind of helps with like the ticking clock going on. Like, okay, there's like 6 days before Christmas
to get back home.
Whatever. So he's got like 6 days to get back home. So it's like that's a lot of fun. The dog Lucky is great. But
pizza dog.
The pizza dog. Love it. Love it. I think the thing that the thing that really hooked me was just sort of exploring like how Clint made a lot of bad decisions, you know, as Ronin, how those are coming back to haunt him in a sense, sort of seeing the toll that being with this group of superhumans has sort of taken on him. So it's a very like brief scene, and it's not like the most like in-depth thing, but when he's talking about how he lost his hearing and it does that super cut of all the stuff that sort of happened to him, I'm like, that's so effective, because it's shit, you don't necessarily think of like
perspective.
The real life repercussions.
He's just a guy, right? Like he's just a guy, and I kind of just like exploring the scars of just like a guy who happens to be an expert marksman that's on this team of superhumans, and that's an aspect of that comic run that I really liked, was just sort of going into that. You know, you see Clint banged up and bruised with like a lot of like stitches and patches on him in that comic run, and I think we're gonna get the same thing here with both Kate Bishop and Clint. So and it's great, and the sort of like, you know, mystery with these different mob factions sort of like coming into play.
Mafia.
The tracksuit guy, the bro.
I was dying.
That was the best part about that is legitimately like lines that those stupid tracksuit guys say in the comics. Like, they literally finish every sentence with "bro." So I was like, if they bring that into the show, I'm gonna be happy, and they did, and I was like, yes. So, no, I had a great time with it.
Well said to the panel. And funny enough, so I actually just, because I've heard so many great, especially Griffin talked about the Matt Fraction run. I started reading a little bit of I believe it was My Life as a Weapon, which kind of, like Griffin said, ties into showing you this man, just a normal man getting bruised up, cut up, you know, paying for his tenants' rent for a month or forever amount of time, with Ivan raising rent prices, all this stuff. So I love that element. Yeah. But I'm not gonna lie, guys. I was pretty underwhelmed by these 2 episodes. I was not like super geeked up. It was just kind of going through the motions, and we'll get more into depth with the episode. But I just felt like Clint, man, he's just I don't know. I know they're giving Jeremy Renner the direction to kind of go to this kind of blasé, normal guy, but it's just so wooden to me at times. I don't know what it is about his performance. It's just like, where is the energy? Where is the fun? And again, I get where he's coming from with.
He's a low key dude, man. He just wants to be a regular dude.
He's low key. He doesn't want to be, but I need a little bit more juice from him, man. But we'll get into it. But I just was very underwhelmed by these first 2 episodes. But again, I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm loving Haley's character. Vera Farmiga felt a little flat too, I'm not gonna lie, and we'll get into it here. But Amanda, starting off with this first episode, one thing I did love about the first episode was this opening. Marvel 13 years now, to tie things into things that happened in the first Avengers, that just got me so excited to kind of just again tie in things in, ramifications of past things, seeing Kate, her dad die, and seeing Hawkeye, her hero, kicking some ass, and that perspective of someone seeing him doing that for the first time is really cool. But just your thoughts on how we open up this show, showing little Kate, showing that her mom and dad, they seem to be living a pretty good lifestyle, but they seem to have some money issues as well. So just your thoughts on this opening sequence that we get here.
I love that opening, and that it was focused on Kate. But for me, it was like in that small scene that we had, you saw Kate's relationship with her dad right off the bat, and that's something that's important to me because I love father-daughter relationships on screen that aren't strained, that they don't talk to each other. I don't like that. That's why I love Ant-Man so much. And between Cassie and Scott, that's something that I really love that they did that in the MCU with the family dynamic. But in this case, you see that Kate is so tied to her dad and that she loses him. So what paternal figure is she gonna have? And she ends up seeing Hawkeye, and then she ends up idolizing him. She's like, I want to be like him, and that's what really clicked for me, and already within seconds gave me that emotional connection to Kate, and that's what makes me love her even more with that opening. So I really loved it. I thought it was strong, and it got me hooked for her character.
Yeah, no doubt. And then again, tossing it to you, Chris. Me and Amanda are big DC fans. This reminded me so much of that Bruce Wayne perspective of Superman. Yeah, when seeing it from his perspective and seeing Kate lose her dad, seeing Jatari coming through New York, to me, like Amanda said, it was very emotional. Really made me feel for the character. And also too, it kind of showed that the mom, her and Eleanor, she seemed to gravitate towards her dad more. They seemed to have a little bit of a closer bond. So knowing that she lost someone that was really close to her, and now she loves her mom, but now having, her and her mom being the only ones to kind of continue their family was interesting. So your thoughts, Chris, on this, I think, impactful opening, man?
Yeah, I thought it was cool. I think it's always cool to learn different perspectives of this Battle of New York that, the shows have been kind of touching on in different ways. So I thought that was cool to see an old perspective. I didn't love the family dynamic. I didn't know if I was understanding what was happening, if I'm supposed to feel connected to this dad who was in and out for 5 seconds and then it's gone. Yeah. And then now she's turned into Batman, just because of this event. So yeah, I was kind of confused about that, but overall it's always cool to see Avengers 1 footage from different angles. Yeah, for sure. And plus, of course, people were gassed up this intro before I could even see it. Be careful. Episode 1, it's gonna be mind blowing.
Jesus, I didn't even see that. I'm glad I didn't see that because I kind of share your sentiment, Chris. I was like, oh, it's cool. I like seeing different perspectives in the MCU during these big pivotal events, but I wasn't floored by it. I liked the emotional connection for sure, like Amanda said, but it was fine. I actually thought it was kind of a weird bridge into getting to the main story. It felt a little disjointed a bit. Yeah. I would say, my main issue was sort of that the start of the first episode. It just felt a little, here we're going to cram in the backstory and everything like that. Then we're going to jump forward in time. And it just, and then it had that long title sequence, which is cool. I liked it, but it also just I felt like I was getting some weird sort of tonal whiplash, and then we sort of get to the, Rogers the musical, and then I feel like that's when it started to settle a little bit more. The Kate Bishop flashback, I almost feel like that would have been better suited later on or in the middle of another episode or something like that. Just I get why they started it there. It makes sense, but I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just me going, oh, I kind of want to see Clint take center stage for the first half of the show, or at least from the beginning, because it's called Hawkeye and he's Hawkeye, and I know Kate Bishop eventually becomes Hawkeye, but shouldn't we start the show with the character that we know who is Hawkeye and then kind of go in through there? But yeah, I don't know. It was definitely the weakest section, I think, of the 2 episodes for me, but
I couldn't agree with you more in regards to that placement of that, and also just the handling of the father's death. I'm not a cynical individual, but off-screen deaths to me always don't hit me as emotionally. Like if he was trying to save Kate, maybe that would have put it really in perspective. Her losing her dad and seeing Hawkeye the next moment saving people. But yeah, it was a kind of a weird placement. And to Griff's point in regards to, again, Clint to me has been the most like undervalued, Avenger in the entire crew, and to not start off this show with Clint, and especially I'm going to get to the Ronin conversation here, because that's what I personally wanted from the show, is to like dive deeper into the mental state of this man killing people for 5 years, which they hint at, but we don't really, they kind of brush over it. But I'm hoping that we dive deeper into that. But going to, and also too, I know some great comments here in the chat that I wanted to kind of get to. First and foremost, shout out to our boy Michael here, who's showing some love, and we got to talk about Mephisto with everything Marvel Phase 4. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, Mephisto has been confirmed. Matt, kind of same kind of sentiments that I had in regards, kind of feeling a little underwhelmed by it. We got some people talking about the grounded nature of it, which I think some people were talking about the whole Netflix connection might be because of the grounded nature of a Daredevil, a Punisher, Jessica Jones, and so forth, and all that stuff. We got Sean Chandler coming in, just being set in New York and dealing with the criminal underground makes it, Marvel. Yeah, so definitely I can agree with Sean there, and definitely, like Griff said, makes it, the personality of New York shining through is something I appreciate as well. And Michael here, Hawkeye got to go to jail. Yeah. Speaking of going to jail, Kate Bishop, we see her in present day, wrecking shop, destroying this tower here, and tossing to you, Amanda. She just gets a little, slap on the wrist from her mom. I don't know if it's just Marvel just doesn't have. There's no consequences in the MCU. You can destroy buildings, you can kidnap neighborhoods, you can kill people, as Clint has done, and you just get a slap on the wrist. But Amanda, your thoughts on this present day Kate Bishop, now 22 years old. We learned very early on that she is not only a marksman, but she's knows martial arts. She is hand-to-hand combat. She's someone that is very formidable for maybe Yelena to go against in later in the season. But your thoughts on this kind of meeting this new present day Kate Bishop, and played by Haley Steinfeld?
I thought they got to her skill set quite fast. I'm like, you kind of have to, since there's 6 episodes. So to cut to like 22 years old and she's already destroying stuff with her knowledge of how to use a bow and arrow is it was cute. It was fun. You like, it sets the tone for the character as well within that scene. So I like that scene. She's adorable. I love Haley, and she embodies her quite well, I think, and she's a fun character. I think a lot of people are going to grow to love her within these 6 episodes. But little hints here and there. I hope her and Yelena have a very nice encounter. And it's going to be interesting. But there's no consequences as long as this stuff looks cool in the MCU.
Blowing stuff up, people dying, you know what it is. But to Amanda's point, I have to say, in regards to just my thoughts on Clint being such, and someone mentioned the grumpy Marvel character, it is nice to see a character that's happy. It wants to be a superhero and having that fun type of stuff. So Griff, tossing it to you, meeting her in present day, destroying this bail for a bet, and seeing her skills early on. Just your thoughts on this kind of new this reintroduction to the character after seeing this death at the opening scene.
It's kind of funny because I'm like incredibly positive about the show, but like, what was the point of this scene? Like, what? Like,
she's reckless, I guess.
She's rebellious. She can't be like. I don't know. I mean, like, it's. Yeah, I guess it kind of like shows that she has a knack for getting herself into trouble or stuff like that, and maybe that's something that she'll sort of have to overcome, is just learning the value of being a hero or something, with like Clint as her mentor. But it was like, again, like I said, the beginning of episode 1 was just like this really weird, like wonky sort of thing until we get to Rogers the musical, and I think that her, like, I mean, I don't know, I guess she's a college student, so her like being up to shenanigans makes sense or whatever, but it is just sort of like a okay, like why yeah I guess we're like seeing her now and her archery skills is like, I can whatever. So yeah, I love Haley Steinfeld. I love the character of Kate Bishop. So like it's fun just to sort of like get those moments with her. But it was just a weird like sequence, I guess, for whatever reason. But I do like the sort of the fallout that happens afterwards. Not that her mom was necessarily like punishing her or anything, but just sort of
credit
like
cards away. So that's
right, exactly. But I think that's sort of like the thing that what does her mom say in that she's like, you have you're wealthy and
invincible. And
invincible.
Yeah, you think you're invincible.
Young and rich.
Yes, yeah, exactly. That's something that I like that because now now you're creating an obstacle that she's going to have to overcome, and like she's not going to be able to rely on her wealth or just like her whatever to get her out of trouble. So it was a nice way of setting the stage in order to eventually get to the point of grounding her when she gets to Clint, you know, having this invincible sort of persona. She hasn't really faced any difficulties or any adversaries before, and Clint has. So I can sort of see how the two are going to interact together. And I think it's a great pairing because we see Clint being a great father in the beginning. This is probably jumping a little further ahead, but we see, Clint being this great father and the relationship he has with his kids. That it still continues to be one of my favorite aspects of the MCU is Clint and his family because it just adds that extra layer of relatability. Yeah. So, so now that his kids are obviously with their mother, and he's kind of trying to clean up this mess in New York City with Kate being that pseudo father figure, I think is going to be kind of cool. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree, man. And I'm really, and tossing to you, Chris, in regards to just Kate, I do hope that they do show that as the show goes on, she starts to realize that she can't just, like you mentioned, Griff, can't rely on her mom or finances or credit cards or, just Bruce Wayne in the situation, if you will. And she has to, kind of learn from not just being reckless. I hope that is, I really do, because it is, now thinking about it, that moment of her destroying that tower, there's literally no ramifications at all, which is just so weird. But Chris, just your take on that scene and if you, how you took in the character and hopefully we see more ramifications of her actions as the episodes go by.
I don't really care about the consequences. In my head, I was like, oh, she probably got kicked out of school or whatever. And I also
did she get kicked out of school? Is he on summer
in my head,
winter break?
It's winter break, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, she should be rewarded for going to school during the break. I was just like, there's no way that the fucking tower's gonna collapse off that. But I was like, whatever. I didn't care about Kate until she met Clint. So
I'm right there with you, bro.
Like that's when like the dialogue kicked in, and I was like, okay, cool. This girl 100% get it.
Yeah.
And I didn't really care about the episode until the Rogers musical. So that's where I'm at.
Dude, exactly. Hey. I'm telling you, that thing did not kick in. I think it should have started with the Rogers musical. That's like a great, exactly.
Also true.
Perfect segue. Starting with you, Griff, man. I want to buy tickets to this musical.
It was so funny.
See it in person. Ant-Man not being there, but being there. I thought that was a great moment. I did think that I thought they were going to play a little bit more into the PTSD of Natasha dying because it was like a moment where he saw Nat on stage and I thought he was going to go back to Endgame, but it was just like him going back to the Avengers and them fighting and all the war battles he's came on. But
I got a little flashback too. I thought that they didn't do that because he's an Avenger, so he probably sees her everywhere. Like it's probably like plastered. So I get what you're saying though.
Yeah, and even his wife mentions Nat a little bit earlier, or at least in episode 2 with the move that she used. So again, I want more. A little tangent. I just wanted more of Clint in this episode. I wanted more of that PTSD.
Give him Clint.
Give me the Clint release of this, the Snyder cut of that.
The Clint verse?
The Snyder.
But Griff, man, take it away. This musical, seeing him, the ear aid that we know in the comics, and just seeing all that stuff. What'd you think about this, man?
Yeah, I did like that sort of the hearing aid thing and him sort of just like tuning, so having that selective hearing and stuff like that and whatnot. But then I did like the way that they sort of handled the PTSD. I'm with you. I would have liked a little bit more, but I didn't think we needed to make a whole show of it. I think you sort of got the gist of how uncomfortable he was watching something like this. and like seeing, you know, having lived through it basically, and then having to deal with like that fan interaction in the bathroom, I think is kind of funny. It's sort of just like, well, no one else is here. Like Steve is gone, Bruce is gone, Thor is gone, Tony's gone, Nat's gone. So hey, can I get a picture with you? So it was just, it was kind of just kind of funny. But yeah, I think we'll probably get more of that PTSD, sort of like him really feeling the weight of everything that sort of happened throughout his time with the Avengers and stuff like that. I think those scenes are yet to come. I'd be very disappointed if they didn't include them, because that's the heart of the show. That's the meat of what's going on here.
Yeah.
But yeah, but as for this entire sequence, it was great. I think. Yeah, going back to what you were saying, Elliot, and what I was saying earlier, they should have opened with this, and they should have done like this really like elaborate musical number, like, and focus more on like the stage production starting out, and then slowly start to pull back and cut to like Clint watching the show and just being like really uncomfortable. That seems like something that would catch you right off the bat, and then it gets rid of the whole weird setup with Kate and all that stuff. Like, again, look. Love Kate. I like her even more in episode 2, but that opening was just the first. I don't even know how long it was, like 15 minutes or so, was just super wonky to me. But yeah, going back to this, it was great. Yeah, it was.
No, I agree. Awesome. And Chris, tossing to you with this whole musical aspect, but just kind of tying off of that point that Griff brought up in regards to, and I would love to know you guys' thoughts on this. From an episode perspective, what was it that I guess what did Kate learn in this first episode? So kind of twofold for you, Chris, musical aspect, and just kind of your thoughts on the Kate's character within this first episode, as we'll obviously keep talking about it as we further the conversation.
What did she learn? What is it? It's like now it's a blur because I watched them straight. And I guess, I don't know, maybe she learned like she thinks she could just be like the superhero, like just sign up and be a superhero. And I guess she learned, or is starting to learn, the dangers of her actions. Like
of the actions, yeah.
And also she doesn't care that her shit got burned down, but like her shit got burned down.
Yeah, her whole house is gone.
Regardless, you know, things are happening.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what she learned. And what I liked about the musical was that, number one, like if this is real life, like they would 100% make a musical, and it would sound like this, just like this. And I was like, they put so much effort into making this shit so believable. I was like, this is the most accurate. Like they must have hired people from Broadway, because like this is so realistic.
Miranda was God.
If I stayed long enough for the credits, I know he's in there.
He's on there. He's a Disney. He's writing stuff all the time.
I felt like I was watching the show, and I was like, this is exactly what they would do, and they would make the Hulk just as stupid like as that, and the song "I Could Do This All Day" or "I'll Be."
Oh yeah, that was a great.
It's all genius. And then the kids are just like, they're happy to be there, but they're just like, damn, Dad hates this, so we gotta get the fuck out of here. So yeah, I thought it was really nice.
I will say I did put it on my notes, a little not an Easter egg, but I did love if you guys remember when he did get the Eminem getting my signature selfie, there was a little quote on the urinal that said that Thanos was right. I love that little kind of, again, puts you in that world, and some people that would agree with Thanos happening, obviously
people are trolls.
The world. Yeah.
Like, of course, like no matter what, like Independence Day, when the aliens are there, they're like, take us, like we want this. Like there's always going to be those like fucking psychopaths. So like I was like, this is very realistic, because that would happen
in the real world. I agree. True. I agree. But let's talk about this individual here, man. That we got this gentleman by the name of Jack that we meet really early on, and we see that Vera Farmiga and him are going to be engaged soon. As our mom doesn't seem to be too happy about that, and it seems to be some type of family rift between them. There's something going on with Armand and Vera Farmiga's character in regards to finances and maybe some mafia ties. So, just your general impressions of this gentleman. I mean, it's almost too obvious that he's the bad guy. He literally has the mustache. Just destroy the world. So, your thoughts on this Jack character and his connections to some evil deeds?
He's sketchy. He looks sketchy, as we said, with the mustache and everything. He's something. But I did some Googles, because I haven't read all of the comics, but he was actually there in the early stages of Clint's life, like in the comics. So I was like, oh, like this character, and he's listed as like another hero. I don't want to spoil anything, but if you guys Googled it or not. But anyways, I'm happy that like they're incorporating him and then bringing him into like Kate's story almost instead of Clint's. So they're kind of still keeping true to the comics with a Hawkeye. But yeah, he's sketchy. There's definitely more than meets the eye with him. And I'm excited to see what happens with him because he's pretty solid. He's a good actor, and I love his connection with Vera Farmiga, who's just, I adore her so much. Even though that wig is like not, it's not it. I really like her and their dynamic. Yeah, he's sketch. We'll see what happens.
It's very sketchy, and it almost makes me wonder. Like, and I love Vera Farmiga as well, but it's just like it's almost too obvious that he's a bad guy. She owns a security the company, and if she's not able to do a background check on him, there might be more to meets side. We know that Marvel, especially with WandaVision's villain, the guy that ended up not being much of a threat to them. And obviously, you know, what we got with Falcon Winter Soldier. So hopefully they can do something interesting with Jack. But toss into you, Chris, your thoughts on this young love and why they're marrying each other so quick. And Jack seems to want to get married to her, maybe for her finances. And obviously the whole thing with his uncle and him being connected to the death of his uncle. But your thoughts on this character here by the name of Jack?
I hated this guy more than anything I could even conceive.
The new
and then it's just like, I know I'm supposed to hate him, but also I take it into real life. I'm like, why would your mom like this guy? Like, and your mom's not great, but at least if you like your mom, like, so it's like you're cool with her. Like, I should be cool with her. Like, there's no way that she would like this dude, and she's already rich, so she can have anybody. So
I agree.
Whatever. That's like, he just sucks, and he looks like an idiot.
He looks like it's literally stretched out of an evil villain, Dr. Evil. But you, Griff, your thoughts on Jack and Eleanor's relationship and this whole connection with Armand III and some family drama and some money connections potentially with Kate's mom.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably going to tie into like the mob hierarchy or the whatever there. Something going on there. Obviously, I think it's pretty clear from the get-go that he's not a good guy, so we'll see what they're at. What I'm more fascinated in is the mom's connection to the whole thing, like Vera Farmiga. I feel like she's probably up to something as well, and that's going to be something that Kate's going to have to grapple with as we get, as that kind of comes to a head later on in the season. But yeah, I mean, Jack was just like kind of I mean, you hate him obviously, but he's a character that I think you're supposed to hate and everything like that. So it'll be curious to see where that relationship sort of goes, how they're using each other. The stuff with what was it? Jack's was it his father or his uncle or something?
His
like
uncle,
that?
That was
the guy who
uncle,
eventually gets killed. That whole conversation that he had with Kate at like the reception there or whatever was really like sort of weird and uncomfortable. I think the interesting thing about Kate in that sequence is we sort of see how she doesn't really like being around like the high society
conforming to that that side of her family.
Exactly. So it's almost like she kind of relies on like money and like has this invincibility complex or whatever, but she is so not that at the same time. So that, I don't know, I think that's going to be interesting to explore for sure. So
I definitely, and something I actually wanted to kind of see Haley Steinfeld's character Kate play. I want, again, going back to my whole Bruce Wayne thing, I would have loved to have seen her play more into that side of her family, just to kind of maybe get more information, kind of play into the whole idea that no one can expect her to kind of look into the whatever Jack is getting into, and who knows, maybe eventually she'll play more into I'm rich, oh don't mind me, I don't know what's going on, where secretly she's getting intel on the situation at hand. So we'll see what comes of that. But wrapping up this first episode, can't forget the star of the first episode. We get Lucky the pizza dog making many great appearances in the show, and Marvel, and when it comes to whether it's Goose the cat or obviously Rocket or whoever, they always know what to do. They cast these animals.
I love how you're putting Rocket.
What are you doing?
He would get so mad at you.
I will not
if he
stand
was
for
here.
that Rocket slander. That's crazy.
Trash Panda, man. He falls in an animal group. But no, I love Rocket. But wrapping up the episode, Amanda, just your thoughts on, I'm not going to lie, I thought the action sequence wasn't all that great. I think it was, I'm kind of torn because I think it was purposely, she's not Black Widow. She's not a trained assassin, knows how to, of course it's going to be clumsy, but I just felt like the way that they shot it and the whole
Very dark,
the Ronin sword and the Ronin costume, which I don't know at this point why
what
the
size it
Avengers
is.
haven't learned their from Spider-Man No Way Home, why there's just random artifacts just laying around, why they don't have a cleanup crew that can keep these things intact.
You
But
can't
neither
keep
here
track
nor
of that
there.
stuff.
I guess, man, it's just in the watch. I don't know what the whole watch angle, why the mafia was looking for the watch, but neither here nor there, Amanda. As we wrap up the episode, your thoughts on the finale, the fight, Clint finding her, and if it was a satisfying conclusion for you.
It was okay. I mean, the fighting, I guess because she's inexperienced, sure, like it was rough, but at the same time, like it shouldn't have been that rough. And it just,
it
didn't.
So Home Alone-ish to me. The bottle's not breaking. I don't know.
It was just off. I don't know what it was. Cause you go from like something like Falcon and the Winter Soldier choreography to something like this, where it could be a more polished. I'm not saying it has to be perfection, because again, she's not fully trained, but I was just like, even maybe was the editing, maybe you were trying too much with Kate at that time. Like I don't know what it was, but it just felt off for me. And then the tracksuit mafia is just, they're fun, but they're also, like they're also
better than the
like,
Flag Smashers.
100%,
I mean, at least they're
Chris,
entertaining.
yes.
Like
I'm the
they're
silver lining
entertaining and they make sense. But yeah, that watch, I hope it ties in somehow, because they put it, don't mention it and then not bring it up. I don't know. I know it's like the first episode, but it was kind of underwhelming. Not really that weak, but just underwhelming for me.
Hey, I know there's there's a Christmas coming up, and maybe Echo has a father that she wants to buy a watch for that we'll speculate with a little bit later. But Chris, man, your thoughts on this kind of wrapping up the episode, the whole sabotage of the black market sale thing, Kate kicking some ass, and Clint coming in and helping her out and finding out that Ronan, which I guess I was the only one that I thought it was public knowledge that Hawkeye was Ronan, but I guess it wasn't. It was a secret vigilante killing people. But neither here nor there. Your thoughts on the finale there, Chris, on how we wrapped up this first episode?
Yeah, I didn't think that it was public knowledge, and I also found it interesting when maybe it's episode 1 or 2, I'm not sure, but when his wife is like, "Did you get the suit?" Like, and she's like, she understands,
knows all.
Like she has to understand, like he did this for you. Who was Then you came back, and it's like, you did this for nothing.
Yes. Killing people.
I thought that was interesting. This the action, 100% agree with you, what you guys both said, 100%. But I also I'm not the action guy, so it's like, because it's not crazy, like it doesn't diminish the show for me. Like, I'm a dialogue guy.
Yeah.
And I think in this recap, I've realized that I like episode 2 better than episode 1, which I think
100%.
People said 1 was better than 2, but I don't know. I gotta stop watching the reviews. I think the ending was a little sloppy. The whole I think the whole series feels like Home Alone. The songs are like Home Alone. She's buzzing at Uncle Rob and Aunt Georgette's house to fucking break in. And that's a deep cut. That's a deep cut. I think it's all like that. So it was just weird. And until they got connected, Clint and Kate, I was like, now the show starts. Which then we could have cut out a whole bunch of other shit.
Listen, Chris, if it wasn't for episode 2, I don't know how I would have felt about this series as a whole. I think
you wouldn't even do a stream.
Yeah, I think it was a genius idea that they gave us a second episode, because it did kind of flush things out, a little bit more, and a little bit more entertaining for me as well. But Griff, man, wrapping it to you before we get into some of these comments and talk about episode 2. But just your take on ending this episode, man. Again, seeing her in action, her in the Ronin suit, which again, it clearly isn't Ronin, because I would imagine the suits, the body types are completely different. So I don't know if it's just me that no, that clearly isn't Ronin. But neither here nor there. She's in the action. We see her, the mafia is chasing her at this point, and that's where Clint kind of comes in, and it's revealed she officially meets her hero alive in the flesh. But your thoughts on this finale, man?
Yeah, well, I mean, the tracksuit guys aren't the brightest people, so that's probably why they got confused. I didn't really think much of the action. I'm gonna be honest, I couldn't fucking see what was going on because the damn watermark was like,
oh, gotcha. Yeah, Disney with their
it was. I agree. That was bad.
What the fuck was that? Like, I'm sorry for being explicit, but just like, what? Like, why? It just took up the entire goddamn screen, and then the transparency was just. It was like basically just having a giant title across it the whole time. Like, Disney, I get it.
The
You don't want
consensus, the tech team at Disney, we know now is not it. Like, you guys look at the Spider-Man trailer, they're not it. They haven't figured it out.
God, it's just awful. Gosh, that was so annoying. Anyways, so I legitimately, because I've yet to watch it without the watermark, so I legitimately couldn't tell whether or not
It's
was
still
the
hard to see because
watermark.
it's dark as hell to
It
me. That
was
scene
dark.
is so
Yeah.
dark.
No, it's dark, bro.
Yeah.
So, well, then there's another thing. I mean, like I earlier on, I was talking about how this felt like the most TV of the bunch, which again isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think this action sequence definitely kind of plays into the fact that it feels more TV than some of the other series. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I'll say for as much as I am enjoying this show, the direction as a whole is something that isn't really impressing me. I feel like there's so much more room to be creative in this series and like just add a little bit more pizzazz into the mix. And I just don't. I'm not really getting that. Like for as much as like the Christmas aesthetic is cool and whatnot, they're not like utilizing it to the fullest, I feel like. And then for as much as we're getting this like nice New York centric story and it feels authentic to the city and everything like that, I feel like they could be doing a little bit more. Same could be said for like some of the editing and the stylistic choices. Like if you're going to base this off of that Matt Fraction run, maybe like be bold and kind of like play into that sort of vibe of it, right? Like, I don't know, maybe I'm just like asking for a little bit too much that's out of the Marvel, wheelhouse of, or just like the aesthetic or whatever. I'm just like thinking about, okay, what if Edgar Wright directed this season? Like it just feels like kind of something that he would do and like add a lot of stuff into the mix.
Personality to it.
Yeah, a lot of personality, and I think that's just ultimately what I'm missing for the most part. Even though I'm like really enjoying the show a lot. So yeah, and I think that kind of just like circles back into why the action is a little lackluster. So I mean, hopefully it improves. Hopefully there's some like more interesting sequences down the road. Like obviously there's that stuff we've seen from the trailers of them in the car, like shooting the arrows.
That kind
of
of
the
one
car.
take, which I heard is great. Yeah.
And well, and to be fair, episode 2 is a little bit better. Like that entire sequence where he goes to like the LARP battle or whatever. Like that was so fucking funny. That was so good.
That guy was the highlight. I know we getting
Grills
guy,
guy,
bro. That's elite. And I feel like I've seen that guy somewhere. Maybe I can remind me.
He looked familiar as well.
Yeah,
but we'll get to that scene. Man, I don't know if we're on the same page about that.
I think
but
we are.
wrapping up this first episode, just overall for a premiere episode, Amanda, were you like, okay, I'm all in, or were you just like a little disappointed by it? Just your overall take before we jump to the second episode. Just your thoughts on this first episode, which I believe was titled "Never Met Your Heroes."
I was in. I have to admit, I was excited to go into the second episode after this one, even though I was underwhelmed. This first episode was to set up the connection of Kate Bishop and Clinton Barton before we got that at the beginning of 2. So was it underwhelming because they were separated majority of this episode? Yeah. But yeah, I was excited to watch because like it's Christmas. You have Pizza Dog. Kate Bishop's a lot of fun, and like these characters are great. So yeah, I was excited for the most part, even though I was underwhelmed because if it's already you're already underwhelmed with the premiere, you can only hopefully go up from there.
For sure.
So yeah.
I agree. Chris, man, out of all the premiere episodes we've gotten with a WandaVision, a Falcon and Winter Soldier, obviously Loki, and even What If in the mix, as far as your thoughts on this premiere, was it something that lived up to those other premieres or exceeded it or kind of underwhelmed you as far as an overall first episode?
No. I'm trying to think of all the other. I mean, Wanda, of course, is just weird, so that doesn't. I don't even know if that counts. But you guys watched 3 episodes of Wanda at once, so that helps. Same thing here. Like if you guys watched episode of Wanda, you wouldn't do no stream. You'd be like, all right, what am I talking about here?
Yeah.
And it's kind of almost the same for this. So like you needed 2 episods for
definitely.
Like, we'd be like, this is like a mess. Like this is a lot of nothing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if it hangs with the other ones.
I agree, man. Griff, this your final take before we jump to the second episode, man. Just overall, once we finish this first episode, did it kind of live up to your expectations or left a little bit more to be desired?
I don't really know, because I wasn't like underwhelmed by the episode, but it also wasn't as good as it could have been. I think having the benefit of watching this back to back with episode 2, well, I guess everyone really has that benefit, right? So it is almost sort of like you're judging the viewing experience of the first 2 episodes, and I think combined it's really solid. This as like just one episode as a singular episode. It's fine. Doesn't really get interesting until like later on and whatnot, when they link up, and then it's just sort of like, okay, I kind of just want to get to the next part. So smart move to include episode 2 in the mix. I understood why they made some of the decisions they did in episode 1, establishing Kate Bishop, establishing where Clint Barton is at this point in time. So yeah, I mean, it's fine. I really do think that WandaVision still has yet to be topped in terms of just like, even just watching that episode isolated, like it's such just like an interesting, weird, little experience. Something that I actually kind of just wanted more of. I like kind of would have wanted more episodes of like WandaVision that are just sort of like that weird, just weird sitcom sort of thing. So yeah, I think in terms of all the shows, this is probably my third favorite. WandaVision, Loki, and then Hawkeye. In terms of like opening episodes. Yeah.
I think I'm in the same boat with you as far as rankings go. The second episode, which we're going to dive into here in a bit, but I do want to quick shout out to Rims right quick with the $30 super chat, showing some love. Love the content, don't change. Big ups to Chris and the man and the rest of the community. Love always. Appreciate your Rims. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for being a great part of the community and stopping by tonight. But Amanda, get into this second episode here, which I think personally, I'm just going to say now, I think it was the better episode out of the 2, because seeing those 2 characters on screen for the first time, going back to like the Falcon and Winter Soldier, which they didn't, Bucky and Sam didn't see each other in the first episode. You get that banter. You get that, the young rookie cop with the old cop, Lethal Weapon vibes. And, I'm getting too old for this. And obviously she's excited for all this excitement. I think this is where, to me, the back and forth really show what this series has to offer. So just your thoughts on, again, opening up this first episode with obviously Clint saving her from the tracksuit mafia. And her just being like, I'm here with Hawkeye. He's in my place. And so on and so forth. Her and just being a fangirl and geeking out to her favorite Avenger.
Yeah, I really liked it. That scene in the alleyway was just so adorable to me because, like, as Haley Steinfeld's so good that I felt like, oh my God, it's Hawkeye. Even though like I've never cared for Clint in my life, I was like, oh my God, it's Hawkeye. So like through her, I was like, I feel that excitement. So yeah, like because it's so contained to like his story and her story, like that got me pumped. Like she idolizes him, and it was just really great banter right off the bat, which I always value. So it worked for me. And then going back to her apartment and just the whole vibe of like, can you sign my bow? Like it was just the cutest thing ever. But you get that connectivity, and we wouldn't have had that like her idolizing him without that scene at the very beginning in the first episode. So I think that it was necessary. Whether the placement didn't need to be right off the bat, I kind of agree with that. But we do feel that between Clint and Kate, and they're just so funny. They're so funny. He's so done with her shit already, and I'm like, you just met her, so relax. But they're really great together. I didn't expect them to have such great chemistry right off the bat, so it was good.
And I will say, and even though he's been kind of underused in the MCU, he has been the one that kind of has guided in newer Avengers, right? You think of him and Wanda, and obviously where she is now, and giving her that.
He's the dad.
Exactly. He is the dad of the situation, and I think it really shows not only with his family, but as Kate, as we see in this episode, he kind of has this eternal feelings that I want to help you. Hey, okay, we need to show you how to cut, fix yourself up. But Chris, man, tossing it to you again, seeing her fangirling out with Clint Barton and giving the instructions to not leave. And we all know she was going to, break those rules. But more importantly, we learned that Clint has had ties with the tracksuit mafia, again, alluding to Ronan, his past deeds there. But just your thoughts on this kind of opening, and if it was, like, for me, was this the better episode out of two for you, just for the simple fact that we get to see these two going back and forth?
Yeah, no, it was way better for me. I like I said, I'm the dialogue guy, so it was perfect. She wasn't like ditzy and annoying to him. Like, she's annoying, but like not like because she's like inept. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, he was like, he played it perfectly. She played it perfectly. Her lines are great. Like, she's just like, look, bro, like, I can do this stuff too. Like, I'm just trying to learn some other stuff, but like, I'm actually like about that life. So like, I loved her confidence. I love that.
Yeah.
It gave me a little bit of stay with me, stay with me, stay with me. Wolverine and Rogue. when Wolverine kind of like takes Rogue under his wing, and he's like, he's kind of like, he's kind of annoyed at first, but like then like he's gonna like, okay, like that's I gotta protect,
keep her safe,
like,
protect her.
Yep. He's not as grumpy as Wolverine, but he's still, like they said in the comments, the grumpy Avenger. So like it kind of gave me a little bit of many of those flashbacks. So I thought it was great.
No, I agree. And Griff, man, it's awesome to you seeing these two going back and forth. And I guess just your thoughts too on this mission that is this mission so important to Clint to kind of, again, leave his family. And I guess too, to kind of, I guess Marvel has said this is 2 years after Endgame, if I'm not mistaken, from what I read earlier today. So knowing that Clint has this mission that he's on, do you think this was a mission sufficient enough to take him away from his family, but also just your thoughts again on this back and forth that we get between Clint and Kate?
Well, yeah, because it could disrupt his domestic life, right? If people figure out that he's Ronin, or like the whole Ronin thing kind of backfires onto him, or they discover that he's actually the one, then that could put his family in jeopardy, which has been like the whole thing from the get-go. Like, Clint has always been really protective of his family, bought the farm out in the middle of nowhere in order to keep them safe and whatnot. So this definitely tracks with that. So yeah, and then like getting to see him with Kate Bishop, I think was great. Yeah, the banter is solid. I think it's as good as I was hoping, for sure. Yep. And just kind of the back and forth, her kind of like idolizing him and like fangirling out a little bit, I think is pretty cool. Definitely something that he is not used to at all, because he's just like the straight man of the whole thing. So yeah, that was nice, especially the bit where they were walking through, I think it was like Times Square or something like that, and she was sort of talking about
the people dressed up. The people were dressed up as the characters.
That was one of the funniest jokes in the entire thing. They're like, "Oh, look, it's you," and he's like, "No, that's Katniss Everdeen." And I was like, that was actually like really like it was so funny, and his delivery on that was really solid. I don't know. I actually am really enjoying Jeremy Renner, just sort of in this, especially in the position that he's in. Yeah, and I think with more episodes, people are going to really latch on to him for sure. So. Yeah, no, but so far so good in terms of like that dynamic. It's great.
Question: We talk about Hawkeye being like the out of the spotlight type of guy, like the low key guy. Do we think he is this way because these jokes are free?
Unfortunately,
do we think that he's this way because he just wants to stay out of the spotlight, or do we think that he thinks he's not worthy of it because he's like the regular Avenger?
Yeah, that is a good question. I would say that I think he feels a little bit of guilt from what he did as Ronin, and like ultimately what happened with Black Widow. He's definitely sort of just like, that should have been me, and he's like, I did all these awful things and I sort of have to live with it. So
I shouldn't be celebrated, you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. It is interesting because it's like, even if that hadn't happened, he still does strike me as the kind of guy who wouldn't do well with recognition, I guess. He doesn't really want to go. He wants to go unnoticed, I guess, is the right way.
And that's what a sniper is,
exactly. Yeah. Which is again sort of playing into his role on the team, which is just brilliant. At least I think from a character point of view. So I think it's a little bit of both, but definitely leaning more into the unworthy side of things, at least in my opinion.
No, I agree with that, and I think, and I want to see that for Clint this season. I do want to see that, because if I'm being honest, I felt like him putting his kids on the truck and them going to wherever they are, just felt a little bit like knowing that he lost his family, knowing that, you know, obviously now he's getting back in the mix with this kind of underground situation. I would have thought it would have been a little bit more like, yeah, I'm going to put you guys on this plane, but obviously I want some more protection for you guys. I don't know where they are. I don't know if Nick Fury is going to pop up in this show at all and show again, he's protecting his family at all costs. But I do hope this series does explore his past actions, being Ronin, obviously losing Natasha and not feeling, like Griff said, feeling not worthy of this mantle. And maybe that's going to play into the big part of why he's going to inevitably pass it on to, Kate to do it in a better way. Yeah. But did you feel the same, Amanda, in regards to this kind of situation at hand with Clint?
Yeah, I think in this case, he's still very humble and down to earth and grounded, as we've said. And I think that's really important because even like at the restaurant with his kids, the waiter, the chef, it was like the free food. He's like, no, what are you talking about? Like, I'll pay for it. It's like he's still in that mindset, not for his kids necessarily, but maybe, because he doesn't feel like he's worthy enough, and he's always been low key, doesn't want to do that. But there's such he's so humble, and I love seeing that as a hero. In contrast, because someone did mention Tony Stark in the comments and how arrogant he was, and the way so there's like a really stark contrast. So you're not the only one who can do those jokes. Haha. So yeah, I love seeing that about Clint, and it's making him more grounded, where you can relate to him, and I think that's really important for his character for this series as well. So
no, I agree.
Martin's getting free sushi everywhere he goes, and
Falcon he's like, I don't
can't even get a house, bro. Falcon can't even get a loan for a house. There's levels to it, Chris. There's levels to it.
Yeah, facts.
But moving on to kind of the funness of it, we see that Clint kind of gives Kate her mission to stay put while I go handle things with this suit and everything at hand. And again, we know Kate wasn't going to do that, so she takes her. We see two different missions. Clint's getting his suit, while Kate is investigating her soon-to-be stepfather, and that's where we kind of get the Kate as a undercover cop kind of situation. And again, it's too obvious at this point that Jack is hiding something. It's just too apparent, in my opinion. But Amanda, let's just jump right into this scene here. And my boy Clint even says that I fought Thanos, and he now has to fight these, this fair, these people dressing up in cosplay. What was your take on this? Again, Marvel MCU comedy to me is very hit or miss. To me, it didn't work for me. I did not find this scene to be all that. It had a moment when he was fighting them in slow motion, just like this is so easy. But I felt that scene just it went on way too long. But Amanda, your take on Clint's mission to get his suit from the Dungeons and Dragons crew?
Why? I just I get it. It was fun. Don't get me wrong. You're putting a grumpy old man in a very fun environment. I understand he did the whole thing with the straight face. He was not enjoying himself. So I get that. I understand all of it. But for me, it's like you're going it to such a serious place with Clint and Kate, and them meeting and trying to figure out what to do with the tracksuit mafia and all of that. And then you're just like, well, let's go LARPing. And it felt kind of out of place for me. As much as great representation for the LARPing community. Cheers to you guys. But it just kind of it just felt out of place for me. I think it didn't really work. But again, he does show that he's taking a back seat when he lets the other guy beat him in the match. So again, even call me Clint, very humble. I'm a normal dude. I came here to get my suit. And I guess those are the important moments that you can see with him interacting with regular people, doing pretty cool stuff. So I think that was something to gain from it, although I didn't think it was that funny. So.
I agree. I totally agree with you. The sentiment of the scene, it stuck to land. I just felt like it wasn't needed. I feel like they could have did something else in replace of that one. But I know Chris and Griff, you guys feel a little bit differently about this. Starting with you, Chris, man. Your thoughts on this? Have you attended one of these? I know you're out in New York, my friend. Can we see? Matter of fact, I know you said this he he reminds Chris. Do you know this gentleman?
Maybe I know this dude. Right?
Auditioning
Maybe
for
I
the
battled
12?
him. Yeah.
Were you
Did you?
battled in the
Yeah.
streets of New York, Chris? But your thoughts on this, his mission, and like Amanda said, there is something to take away from it. His humbleness of it, him knowing that he could literally probably just punch the guy out, just take the suit for himself.
True.
But instead, he kind of plays into like, hey, can you help me out and lose this fight?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even think about the LARP scene as a thing until you guys brought it up as some like nonsense, and I was just like, it's a fucking Disney Plus TV show. Like, there's gonna be nonsense. Like I thought it was pointless, even him like bandaging Kate, and I was like, I didn't understand why that took so long, and I was like, so I'll LARP for 5 minutes if it's gonna give me some funny lines
instead of for a tutorial of how to.
Yeah. I was like, wait, are they gonna like make out? Like, what's happening here?
It was a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, Chris. It was a little bit of like.
I was like,
What?
sexual
I got
tension,
like
but there
whole
was-
dad
Dad, okay,
vibes.
okay.
What are
Yeah.
guys?
You saw
Guys,
something else like that. You saw
come
something.
on.
So back to the
Keep
LARP. I was
it
like,
pure, fam.
you guys can't even talk about the LARP scene without laughing and smiling. So don't even say like they did
I
their job.
guess,
Like,
I guess.
y'all are talking about it.
Yeah.
I love this scene. It reminded me of
Gee.
Blue Streak. I don't know if there's any Blue Streak fans in the
Oh
house.
yeah, Martin Lawrence. Yeah, when
And
he's
he's-
working at
when
the
he-
castle. Yeah.
When he said, "Yeah, it's like I'm gonna need that gun back." He's like, "No, don't hand it to me. I got to take it from you." So he's like, "You can't just kill me. It's got to be a
Roll over.
thing."
Yeah.
And then last thing I'll say, I love the line. It's all about the writing. I love the line when they say, he's like, "Can you bring this to the front?" Because my credit card is like, they will
Oh,
try.
they're gonna get you credit. Yeah, that was.
Yeah. So I was like,
yeah.
that's fucking fantastic. Okay, so the guy's name is Clayton English. He's a comedian. He was on Last Comic Standing and some other stuff like that. So if you guys,
Hey, he
some
might be the
famous
next
familiar faces.
side character. Get him and Detective from WandaVision and Luis
Yeah.
from
Yes.
Ant-Man, and they go on a
Luis
road
is the
trip.
best. Luis
Get,
is the best.
yeah, and then also Kat
Um,
Dennings, get her in the mix too. Go on a
Yep.
road trip.
Yep. Love that.
Sitcom, it writes itself, Chris. It writes
Yeah,
itself.
Avengers of Comedy.
There you go.
Aha.
Hey.
Well done. Well done.
Well, Chris, you've hyped up the scene, and Griff, man, to finish off
Thank you.
this scene, as far as it being a fun, little adventure for Clint to go on, but also taking away again his humbleness of the situation. Just your
Yeah,
thoughts on this moment here, man.
Yeah, I actually really liked it. And kind of coming off of that like Katniss Everdeen line, I thought it was a great follow up to that. Kind of continuing with like the Clint's kind of brand of comedy. It's really, I wouldn't say it's like dad humor, but it is like pretty. The situations that he gets in, I think, are just like really funny, or just some of the like very blunt and just like I don't know, the way that Renner sort of plays it is great. And this whole thing was hilarious, especially the way they filmed it, right? Like the super slow-mo, like epic shots of everyone coming in there, and he's just sort of like swatting them
Yeah.
away. Like it was just, I don't know. I actually was laughing pretty hard at it, and that like never happens for me in Marvel stuff. So I was like pretty on board with it. And then when he obviously gets them, he's just like totally fed up with the shit. He's like, dude, come on, man. Like, just call me Clint, give me my bow or whatever the hell it is, the Ronin stuff.
Yeah.
He's like, just give me this, let's go. And then like they have that little like circle pit at the end where they're like dueling one another, and he's just like, really? It was just, I don't know. It was really well done. I think it was it didn't like they didn't overdo it, they didn't underdo it to the point where it was just like stupid. They really hit the mark there, and then the credit they were like, they will charge you.
The I fought Thanos was the one that kind of gave me, because it was just like, yes, this man is fault is
Yep.
Atari, and
Now he's
fought other
LARPing.
Avengers, and now he's LARPing.
Yeah.
Good
So
line.
it's just like
Yeah.
this is my life. This is
Yeah,
what we
it's
do
just
now.
like,
You're
look,
so
I'm
sad about it.
it's like, I'm above this. Like, why am I here?
It's
Yeah.
good.
It's
some
good. It's
funny
good.
stuff there.
Yeah.
But wrapping up this kind of second episode, because again, we get a lot of this two-way mission, but we kind of get our two characters back in the same feed. But I guess focusing on Kate a little bit, as we see, she works for her mom. The game plan for her mom to kind of set her life on a trajectory is to eventually maybe even own the business when her mom, retires or what have you. But then she's looking more into this Jack character, and they have the dinner, and Jack is, they challenge each other in a fencing match, and he lets her win until, obviously he bounces the shows that he has more skill than what they'd imagine, which alludes to his character knowing more than he actually does. But just again, we talked about Jack in episode 1, but Amanda, I just want to know, is this guy going to end up being a good guy by the end of the show? And they're just playing, because it's almost like too on the nose for me for this guy to just be a part of this, and killing his uncle is kind of the theory that we think is at hand now because his uncle was stabbed in the back. But your thoughts on this future stepdaughter, and her stepdad, and the back and forth that they have?
It's too on the nose. Like it's just they're showing us everything. The little caramel. There's like they're placing it perfectly for us, right? So I personally think that he's in cahoots with her mom, and I think that's going to be a reveal. I think the mom has to, she's into some shit. She's into some stuff. So I think they're in cahoots, and like he's the cover up for us. So we're kind of surprised. I think there should be some more surprises, hopefully, which we'll get into after. But yeah, I think that they're in cahoots, and it's like a diversion. So we don't think it's Eleanor, but we're smart because we just we're gonna figure it out somehow. But yeah, that's where I'm thinking.
Chris, man, your thought on this Jack character and Kate Bishop kind of investigating her and her mom again, just kind of like playing it all off. And I think, like Amanda is saying, I think Eleanor will end up being someone that's a little bit more villainous than what we initially thought.
Yeah.
Nothing more villainous than trolling this little girl for fencing. Like, just play her for real. Like, fight for real. I agree with all you guys. I think the mom looks too creepy. You can't have like a mom in someone's life that looks that creepy and her not be up to something. Like, you're supposed to be loving and caring and getting ready for the holidays. Look at the stark difference between that mom and then like Clint's wife. Like, these fucking kids are making gingerbread fucking houses. That's fucking fire.
She's wearing red. She's wearing red the entire episode. We all know red means bad.
Don't even start.
Don't even.
You see, we'll never end. That's why Wanda will go down as the best, because we still talk about it. We have theories for a show that's done. That's how crazy it is.
My brain hurts still.
And it still trains me to think of how I watch these shows. Even when Barton stole the firefighter outfit and he had the hat, and it was 54. And I was like, what does 54 mean? Like, what episode like that? And I was like, what does it mean? And I was like, this is ridiculous. But yeah, I think she's like up to something. Yeah, this dude's mustache is up to something on its own.
It's perfect.
Man. I need that Jack mustache, please. But Griff, man, your thoughts on this kind of whole back and forth between the stepdaughter to be and the new stepdad, who again, he's read the books, he's calling out her flaws and her her defense mechanisms, and just seems too on the nose. But I think, like Amanda said, it's Eleanor in the background who's just like, we're gonna be surprised that she might have some more fair doings with the track suit mafia crew.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as people in the chat have sort of been saying, like this guy is playing the character Swordsman. Jack is playing Swordsman, who's a character from the comics. He's kind of like an anti-hero, right? Like he swings both from being like an ally sometimes, and then also being an antagonist other times. He's sort of like in like the mirror image of Clint in a way, I guess. So like there's. Yeah, basically, like, I don't know which way they're going to roll with him going forward. I'm assuming that, like, he's probably going to be a little bit more complicated than just the adversary, right? And I actually think that a lot of what's going on is going to be more on the shoulders of Vera Farmiga's character. She's probably going to be more of the villain than I think Jack is. Yeah. Jack actually, interestingly enough, has some like connections to Kang the Conqueror. Like he like fought Kang as like, because there was like a period of time where like he was on the Avengers and stuff. Like he has a long history in the comics anyway. So like, if they're going to bring a character like that into the mix, he's obviously going to play a big role. So I don't think he's just going to be the big bad guy for this series. Even like just knowing the comics of like this particular Hawkeye run, there's like a lot of different sort of like antagonists at play here. So yeah, I'll be curious to see what sort of happens. But I think at the end of this episode, they're sort of alluding to at least what I think is Madame Mask at the end of the episode. And she's got like this, basically has this like gold mask that she wears over her, and she's kind of like a crime boss sort of person. So I think, and that's obvious. I think knowing where the show is sort of going and the different villains that Clint and Kate are going to go up against after the tracksuit guys. Madame Mask was sort of like a big one in that particular run that he went up against. So that sort of makes sense that she would kind of be the next step up from there. So
Gotcha.
yeah, and then there's also the Kingpin theory, right? Like, did he buy Avengers Tower or something like that? That seems to make sense to me. I did see something like recently online, I think earlier today, where it was like, oh yeah, Kingpin's gonna be in it, and he's gonna be the fat guy, and he's gonna have CGI, and I'm like, no, what CGI? Don't put CGI on Kingpin. No,
especially if they bring Vincent D'Onofrio's character.
No.
They bring him. Yeah, it will look
you
weird.
Don't need like that's. You don't have to give him a fat suit. You don't have to give him CGI.
Yeah.
Just
get a regular big dude.
Just get a big dude. Yeah, it's fine.
Bring Vincent D'Onofrio back.
Just bring Vince
that.
back.
Yeah, he's right
exactly.
there. He's right there, ready to get back into the role. And that guy, talk about social media. I mean, he's liking all the Hawkeye posts and retweeting things. And last week, it's like, oh, this show looks really fun. It's like, all right, Vincent, all right, you didn't take the same course as Andrew Garfield we see here, but
Paul Bettany all over again.
Oh yeah, and we'll see what comes of that. But wrapping it to Griffin's point, wrapping up the episode as we see Clint does the whole bait and switch situation, which he learned from Nat. He gets caught by the tracksuit mafia guys. They're interrogating him, which was kind of funny in regards to him breaking and want to talk. Are you the manager? And talking to the boss, which we see Kate break in, and everyone's waiting. Who's Kate? Yeah, she falls in. They want to know who Kate Bishop is, and we end also with I guess the leader of the tracksuit mafia gang with this Echo character here. Really cool to kind of see what she has to do, because as we all know, Marvel has already announced that she's going to get her own spinoff show, which is very interesting to see how much stock they're putting into this character. So I'm hoping that this character really does come through. But there's also been rumors that her show might be a spinoff for another character who wears red in the MCU. But starting with you, Amanda, your thoughts on this finale and being introduced to who we think is this main villain to be in Echo, who, like Griff mentioned, with Kingpin, she has familiar ties with Kingpin as being her adopted daughter. So we'll see what comes of that character.
If it leads to Kingpin, I would be over the moon, excited. I need it. Yeah. I think it's the only surprise at this point where I'd be like, oh my God, they did it. And if anyone else is revealed, I'm like, oh, okay, it's contained to this story. That's fine, whatever. But Kingpin would be a bomb surprise. I think that scene with Clint and the tracksuit mafia was probably my favorite of the episode. I won't lie to you. I was dying. I was dead. I was laughing. And then there's no superhero landing for Kate, which made me die. I'm like, this poor girl just dropped from the ceiling.
And the line, oh, I didn't know you had to bring guns here. That was a good one.
She's adorable. So I think for me personally, when Kate and Clint are together, that's where the show is at its strongest. If you keep them divided, I think the writing just doesn't, I don't know. For me, it's not working. There's something off. Like, of course, we got to see Kate and her family. I understand that, but it just they're stronger together, and I need them moving forward. Like Bucky and Sam, the dynamic is stronger together. So I don't want them apart as much moving forward. So hopefully they stay close. But yeah, I'm excited for Echo next week, and fingers crossed for Kingpin. So.
We'll see, Mr. Wilson Fisk. Mr. Chris here, man. Your thoughts on this finale? Again, meeting this new Echo character who, like I said, Marvel has announced that she will be getting her own show. And again, this is just a rumor right now, but the rumor is that this will be kind of a back pilot to introducing Mr. Daredevil into the mix, which I hate to be the guy that kind of puts the stars are aligning, but it does happen to be that episode 5 comes out the same week that Spider-Man No Way Home comes out, which, some people are expecting another character to make an appearance in that movie. Again, we can go down this rabbit hole, Chris, but we dare not to. So I just want to know your thoughts on this finale and what we hope with this Echo character to be.
Yeah, I like the ending. Like Amanda said, that scene was really well done. They are better together for sure. I didn't know about the Echo character until after the episode. I looked it up. Interested to see, we get more. And apparently she's actually hearing impaired for real. She's actually deaf.
Shout out to Marvel again with the Eternals and now this. So yeah, definitely representation really matters. Yeah.
No. Facts. So that's really cool. What was I going to say? Are they flirting with the idea of the actual Daredevil that we've already seen, or a new Daredevil?
Listen,
do we not
Chris,
know?
if Charlie Cox,
He's-
if the rumors are to be
coming
said,
back.
it look like he might be coming back, my friend.
He's coming
Oh.
back.
As of, and if
Coming back.
anything, it's going to be like a variant version of him. It won't be the Daredevil from the Netflix world.
Netflix, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. Hey, Griff, man, if you want to go down that train with me, my friend, on this whole theory of, again, tying Echo to a
Yay.
Wilson Fist, to, obviously Daredevil tying into the mix. And I don't know if this show, if it's too much pressure to put on a show like this again, because if we're getting to Daredevil, is it going to overshadow Hawkeye, all that stuff? But we know Marvel, they always love to plant the seeds, my friend. So your thoughts on the finale and what this could potentially mean for the future of not only this show, but also this Echo character?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if there's like any heroes that pop up in that Hawkeye run. It's been a minute since I've read it. I think there are, but I can't remember specifically. So like it wouldn't be like out of the ordinary for like some major hero to kind of like pop in for a little bit.
Yeah.
If it is, even if it is Daredevil, I think like that Hawkeye is a show where it kind of makes sense just given the nature of it taking place in New York and with Spider-Man No Way Home having Daredevil in it and all that stuff. So yeah, I mean I'd be down to see it as long as he doesn't take away from the story at hand, for sure.
100%.
And if we get Daredevil, and assuming Charlie is still playing him, it's almost 100% guaranteed that it's going to be a completely different Daredevil than what we saw in the Netflix shows. So yeah, I'll be curious how that all plays out. And yeah, I mean Echo working for Kingpin, that whole thing definitely makes sense. I'd be very surprised if Kingpin wasn't involved in this show, given the fact that he is the Kingpin, and it just anyways. So I think we'll probably get Kingpin maybe towards the end of the season or something like that.
We'll see, man. That would be, again, if things line up perfectly, it will be in the week, not the finale, but the second to last episode will be the same week that Spider-Man No Way Home comes out. And
right.
The synergy there from that show leading to that film would just be, the hype level will be off the chains. If that all, as that comes true. But I would love to, speaking of cameos, I would love for, if it does get revealed some way, somehow, that Clint was, obviously maybe his identity comes out that he was Ronin. I think it'd be a great way to get a lawyer involved, and not Charlie Cox, but also She-Hulk. I would love to see get her involved in the story and kind of get that ball rolling and kind of really connecting these shows and obviously the MCU to a greater universe, as we know that they do a great job at doing so. So wrapping up, Amanda, I think we can all agree, and if not, let us know. But I think the second episode was the better out of the two. But just your overall take on the second episode and what you hope to see in this season as a whole.
Yeah, I this morning I said that I liked 1 over 2 better, but now that I watched 2 again, I was like, oh, I need to refresh. I had to refresh my memory because I'm not gonna lie, I kind of forgot about what happened in 2 because I watched it before, and if 1 and 2 kind of flowed into each other. But yeah, now that I went back, 2 is definitely better than 1. I want to see more of Clint and who he is as a person, as a well-rounded character. We've only got little snippets throughout the MCU. We didn't get enough, and I just want to see more of him, even though this is the Kate Bishop show and that's what it feels like. But I do understand it's more of the passing of the torch. And I think if we wrap our head around the fact that that's what it's gonna inevitably be, can't even talk at the end of this, I think that we're in for a treat. And if they do have cameos, cool. I think it's just gonna be more contained to this character, and I just want more banter. I want them to get into shenanigans together. I want all of that, and it's Christmas. So holiday cheer, fam. That's I think that's what's the most important thing, is that it's Christmas in New York City. So it's giving all the vibes already for me.
Well said. Chris, man, same for you, man. Just your general take on episode 2 versus 1, which one you preferred. And then again, as far as expectations, man, what do you expect for the rest of the season in regards to either its cameos or character developments? Just what's high on your list as far as, at the end of the day, Hawkeye gave me XYZ.
Yeah, episode 2 definitely better than 1. Overall, I thought it would be a little cheesy. The Christmas thing, I didn't think it would be, It's well done. I think the dialogue, is great. Kate is great. What I look forward to the most is the interaction between Kate and Florence. because like Florence is
We didn't even talk about
carries-
Florence.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
she
didn't.
will
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
coming. She has been confirmed. Yeah.
she's what carries Black Widow the film.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So with that,
That's
like
true.
that's another like element of banter like added in. So I'm just looking
Mm.
forward to that as the season goes on. 4 episodes is not a lot, so it
Yeah.
should be each episode with a lot of like shit to unpack.
Which, I mean, to go to your point, Chris, if you were to be a betting man, knowing that it's 6 episodes, man, when do you think we'll see Yelena make her way into this series? Are we looking next
Maybe
week
the
or season
4.
finale?
Maybe
Four?
the end of 4, so you get the last 2 with her. I don't know.
Yeah, because it seems like Marvel so far, the 6 episode seasons, the 5th episode is kind of like the big one, right? Falcon and Winter
Yeah.
Soldier, we get Elaine's character. Loki, I think, was not Hugh Grant, but Richard Grant, and him saving Loki and all that stuff. And so it seems like episode 5 is that big one. So Yelena, Wilson, Fisk, all in one episode. Oof, minds exploding. But Mr. Griff, man, your take on this first episode being better than second, or vice versa. Your thoughts on what you hope to see this show deliver us at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think the second one is definitely better than the first one. Viewed as like sort of like a pairing as like one episode. I think it was a really solid start. Won me over pretty easily. It was just nice to get something that was simple, straightforward, and seems to have a clear trajectory of what they want to do with the characters. Not a lot of guessing other than like who's gonna like guest appear in the series, which is totally fine. As for like when Yelena is gonna pop up, I would say next week because that's technically the mid-season point.
Great point. Yeah.
Right.
Great point.
But I don't think they've really teased anything quite yet that would lead me to believe that. I feel like episode 3 is going to leave off on a cliffhanger that's going to tease Yelena for episode 4. They're going to have to deal with her in episode 4. I actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think that car chase might be an action sequence where she's chasing after them. Maybe. I don't know if we've seen other parts of that, but that might track a little bit. And it would also probably call back to Yelena facing Taskmaster, who did a very similar thing in a chase with
Great
them.
point.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe there's something there, but yeah, if I had to guess, it would probably be Yelena in 4, and then I assume all 3 of them will team up at some point, and then they'll fight the villain in 5 or 6 or something like that.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting this is a 6-episode show.
It's so
Yeah.
quick. It's like, as you said
Yeah.
all this, I'm like, damn, that's a lot of stuff to kind of stuff in for the next 4 episodes.
Now I'm sort of like wondering, like, even like that doesn't seem like enough time to have Daredevil or Kingpin kind of like be
to get
in
involved.
it. I feel like Kingpin then would probably just be like a tease at the very end of the series for like something going forward. That makes more sense because I think you gotta tie in, you gotta wrap up like the Clint story arc and the Kate Bishop story arc. Yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think that this is the last that we're going to see Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye in the MCU, or like, do you think that he like just retires afterwards, or?
I mean, go ahead, man.
No, I'm betting on him retiring.
Retiring?
I don't think they'll kill him off. I think they'll just like I think people are going to grow attached to him now, and like they'll want him to retire.
Yeah.
I think if I'm Jeremy Renner, I'm staying to this franchise as long as I can because he's tried to do Bourne Identity, Mission Impossible, and he could not gravitate towards any other IP besides Marvel. And I think,
and he has another show right now too.
And he has a show on Showtime right now, which I heard is pretty good. But if I'm Jeremy Renner, I'm staying on like him, Chris Hemsworth. Keep me going to the wheels fall off.
Yeah.
But who knows where he's at in his career if he wants to continue that role. But I would stay on if I was him.
Or if he's even in control of that, like if he wants to stay on, then does that mean that they automatically want him to?
Because it almost seems like every other actor, whether it's Chris Evans, I want to be a director now, Robert Downey Jr. saying he wants to, kind of venture off and do his own thing, as well as the other characters. He's the only one I really haven't heard him ever say, like, I'm tired of this role or I want to, finish it. So,
well, I mean, my God, this is the first real thing his character has
It's true, exactly.
Exactly, yeah.
Other than the little nuggets in like Age of Ultron and Endgame and stuff like that. So I'd be okay with him retiring to be with his family, but I also think that like I like the dynamic between Clint and Kate so much that I think you can have both of them still be in the MCU. Like you can have Kate Bishop go to the West Coast, be part of the West Coast Avengers, have Clint on the East Coast, be part of like, you know, doing his thing in New York City or whatever. You can have two Hawkeyes because like there's two Hawkeyes in the comics, and actually there's like a pretty funny running gag throughout like some of the series where it's like they're a team, but like one person will like tap in and the other will tap out for a little period of time. So it's like I think like seeing that dynamic would be really cool. I just to sort of have like one hero, but like which one is it going to be this time around? Is it going to be Clint Barton? Is it going to be Kate Bishop? And then maybe in like a future season of Hawkeye, if they decide to do another season of this, which I don't know if they will, it would be nice to just sort of explore that team or I guess the duo a little bit more because it is, I agree with Amanda, I think the show is at its best when it's the two of them on screen bantering back and forth, so that would be really, really cool. So I hope they keep Clint around, especially as we're starting to get really attached to him. He's a great mentor figure, not only to Kate, but obviously as we've seen with Wanda, he's a great father figure. And yeah, there's so much that you can do with that character.
I agree. And again, I was just thinking about that Elena conversation we had earlier, and going back to this show that they confirm as far as canon, this takes place 2 years after Endgame, which means that it took Elena 2 years to find Clint. And maybe, I don't know. And again, we talked about them stuffing so much to the show. What if we don't see that on-screen fight between Clint and Elena? They've already patched they've mended their beef, and he's calling her in for help. I don't know if that's something to kind of help implement her into the story, because it's going to be like, okay, she has to fight Clint. They have to become friends. It seems like a lot to do in this episode. So maybe they've already been friends, and we're going to not get that fight that we were hoping to see in the future. Who knows?
Yeah. I also just sort of like hate that that's a thing.
Yeah.
Like that like I liked Black Widow, or I really liked Black Widow, but I hated the stinger
at the end.
Yeah, the stinger at the end. I was just like, no, don't do this. Like, no, please, I don't want to retread this thing. He's already facing the guilt. Why does he have to have her fucking sister chase after? Like, that's just
so true.
It's so annoying. It's repetitive.
We'll see. Again, I'm so excited to see Florence Pugh and Haley Steinfeld on the screen together and see their dynamic. But yeah, Griff, if we see that scene play out, and who knows, maybe I don't think she'll kill Hawk or Clint, but that would be pretty great. Or she kills his whole family.
Could you imagine? Oh my god,
that would suck. I'd be so pissed. I'd be like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
now everyone hates Elena.
They won't kill him.
She's brainwashed all over again. But yeah, we'll see, man. This show again is very grounded, but lower Marvel, we can always expect the unexpected. So and we got 4 episodes to explore that. But listen, man, this is why I love having these people on, because we can geek out for 2 hours talking about all this stuff and much more. But I appreciate their time, appreciate their input on the show and all the stuff we talked about. And of course, everyone that joined in live, you guys are completely awesome people, and so excited to talk about more of Hawkeye. But wrapping all this up, starting with you, Amanda, I know it's cold out there where you're at, and hopefully things will warm up for you with the holidays coming up. But why don't you let the fine folks at home know what's coming up next? What's the next article? What's the next movie you're checking out, to let the people know if it's worth checking out?
Yeah, well, I watched Come On yesterday morning at 10 a.m. and I really enjoyed it. So my review of that is up on my website, candidcinema.com. I watched Pig with Nicolas Cage, and I was pleasantly surprised with that original story. So my review will be up tomorrow. And then, guys, I have House of Gucci at noon tomorrow. And I will go check out those Italian accents and see if they're as offensive as people are saying. So, I'm excited for that one. It's 3 hours. There's a lot of great releases this weekend, but House of Gucci is my next one. So this was so much fun going through Hawkeye episode 1 and 2. You guys can always find me over at AMX ND Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd.
Amanda, I do urge you, before seeing House of Gucci, make sure you get some cup of coffee. You're well rested.
Nice.
No, it's long.
It's a long film, and those accents aren't the only thing you got to worry about in that film.
Lord.
But listen, guys, you heard her. Check her out. Her links are in the bio. Look forward to checking out all that great content from you coming soon, Amanda. I can't wait to talk about Hawkeye episode 4 with you next week. But so it's tossing to you, Mr. Chris, man. I know you just recently dropped a review on your channel the other day, which we talked about Kevin Hart. But if you have any other things you want to let the people know to check out, and why the Warriors are a scary team to look forward to with Clay coming back pretty soon, man.
Listen, my man Clay is doing real practice now, so I mean, what the boys 15-2, but we're real humble though. We're a humble team, so it's all good. Let's see. What am I watching? Okay, so I watched Tuesday. I finally watched Spencer. I talked to you guys about that, so now I got to go watch my man FilmSpeak. Explain to me why it's a masterpiece. I love Kristen Stewart, so really, really nice job there. That movie is just like anxiety on screen, and it's just like, oh my god, like free this woman and the goddamn kids. Oh, too cute. Enough about that. What's next? I've been doing reviews for Insecure every week on HBO. If you guys watch that, and then I just released a review for Bruised with Halle Berry that comes out today or came out today, which is not a good movie, but it's not Halle Berry's fault. Quick take version of my review. But yeah, that's what's going on around Taste Take. So if you guys are into that kind of stuff, check me out, and looking forward to do this again. And happy holidays if you guys are into that sort of thing.
Definitely. Do yourself a favor, guys. Check out Chris. And I haven't seen Bruise yet, and I don't know if I want to from everything I've heard about it. So
bro, it's a busy week, bro. It's a busy week. Just value your time. Value your time.
Hey, I like Halle Berry, but this is the directorial debut, right? This is her film.
It is her directorial debut. The movie was originally for Blake Lively, and it was supposed to be directed by Nick, the dude that did Notebook, Nick Cassavetes or whatever.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I know you're talking about. Yeah,
which apparently has an incest scandal because he said that all love is real love, and brother and sisters can love each other as long as they're not fucking.
I didn't know this.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's been on the.
The more you know.
He's been on thin ice. So Halle Berry took it out of his hands. But yeah, if your Thanksgiving gets canceled, your turkey gets dropped on the ground, then maybe you can watch Bruise.
Is something to watch.
There's nothing else like for you to do. But yeah, much respect to Halle Berry. That was it's just not the movie's not for me yet.
Gotcha, man. Well, hey, you win some, you lose some, right? But there you have it, guys. You heard from Amanda and Chris. Check them out. But got a quick shout out to our special guest, Griffin, man. It's been a while, man. So glad to see you. Glad to see you doing in good health. And again, the channel has been growing. Some great content you have on your channel, man, and a lot of great stuff that I know you have lined up. Especially, I can't wait to see that Spider-Man 2 on why it's the greatest Spider-Man live action. I'm excited to hear that deep dive, my friend. But Griff, man, why don't you let the fine folks at home know where you're at, what's lined up, and all that fun stuff, my friend.
Yeah, so as Elliot alluded to, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 video will be coming like in the next week or so, basically beginning of December. And then, for the rest of December, I'll have something on Spider-Man No Way Home like the rest of us. I'm working on a video for Batman Returns that'll probably release the week of Christmas, because I think it's a great Christmas movie, actually, and probably the most underrated Batman movie. So, that's coming. I haven't decided if I'm going to cover Matrix 4, but I am very interested in seeing it. So, look, there's a lot of stuff coming your way on my channel that will be good. So just head on over to the FilmSpeak YouTube channel, and you can check out all the videos we have over there. I'm really curious to hear. Actually, Chris, you liked Spencer then, right?
I enjoyed Kristen more than I enjoyed the movie. I thought, and she just captured. I love like stories about Diane. I've always loved it. I thought she just killed it, and she's like, I hated Charlie's Angels, but like because of her, I was like, this movie is not the worst movie ever. Like she just carries that movie. But Spencer, I was just like, she's digging into a bag that like is not everybody can do. So like, the movie was a little slow for me at times, but like it's not because of her. It's like she carries this thing, and I just like felt like, why would anyone like want to fucking eat dinner without talking? Like, this is like fucking terrible. I felt like I was royalty and hated it. And then like I wonder if they watch it, like, this shit is not that bad. Like, we're fucking royalty. Like, we have fun, whatever. But it made it seem very like, we're Americans, so like we don't understand.
We don't
understand the concept, the history behind it. But I was just like, Kristen is just like dialed in. So
Yeah, I think
true.
she's a lock for best actress. But yeah, no, that was I'm just curious about that because obviously I did the video on that. But yeah, no. And then I guess you can follow me on Twitter at Griff Schiller, and then the FilmSpeak Twitter at _FilmSpeak. With the all the stuff, our articles on the website filmspeak.net are posted there, and all that good stuff. So. Yeah, I'm really sorry, Amanda, that you're gonna have to go sit through House of Gucci tomorrow. But you are like the one, opinion that I'm very curious to see. So
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
it's gonna be good.
It's a movie.
It's a movie.
It's a movie.
I have actively avoided it, so I still haven't seen it.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Me and Amanda got beef though because she was hating on King Richard, and I thought that movie was fantastic.
I didn't
I
hate
saw her.
on it.
Yeah, I saw you.
Okay, I'm so
You were
bragging on it.
King
Whoa.
Richard.
Whoa,
King Richard.
I didn't
That's
hate
not.
on it.
That's royalty. That's American
I didn't
royalty.
hate
That's
on
I
it.
saw her score. I saw her score. on that,
I didn't
yes.
hate on it. I just.
Mhm. Oh yeah, you think you're not dialed into my co-host? You think I'm not dialed into your content? Okay, all right.
Rude.
I'm
Very
sorry.
That is a hot takey take.
Hey, it's not a bad grade. Like, come on, it's not that bad.
What'd you give it?
3 out
Yeah,
of 5.
3 out of 5, right? Yeah.
That thing
That's
you
just
said
rude.
it. You said it dragged on. It was bad pacing. You were bored, and Will Smith should never win an award.
That's not what I said.
I added that last part.
Lies. No, for reals though, like it was an amazing performance. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
He is going to win. He's been one of my favorite actors since I was a kid. So
Yeah.
he's winning. He's owed. Long overdue. He should have won for either Ali or Pursuit of Happiness, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Those were two phenomenal performances. But yeah, for me, the direction, the choices, some things just didn't match up for me. But yeah, 3 out of 5 is not bad, guys. I still enjoyed it. It's not
Yes,
bad.
it is.
It's not bad.
All right, so Elliot, real quick.
Yeah, man.
Rapid fire. What movie did you enjoy better? Which movie do you think is better? King Richard, Judas and the Black Messiah.
Ooh, on the spot. King Richard. King Richard for me. For many different reasons, but I did have a personal connection to the story because I grew up watching Venus and Serena and watching them all just dominate the lead. So and plus too, like Amanda said, the performance by Will Smith alone, those two young girls were incredible. And John Berthal, thank
John
in the film. I was just so happy to see him. In the film.
I want him to get nominated. To be honest, it was
so
just
good.
The back and
He's
forth
so
between
good.
him and Richard, man. I don't know
Yeah.
how he was able to keep his head on his shoulders and not just like, what the it's
It
terrible
gave
ideas.
me vibes like movies are so long these days, and for people like us who are like reviewing things and like it's like like let's have to get through so many movies, but like this movie was long and like at the end I wanted more. I felt like kind of Social Network where I was just like I need more of this story.
Of it,
Like what happened next for fucking Facebook? Like this is like Venus's first big match. Like that's how you're ending it. And I was like, so I felt that type of way. Like for a long movie and like in a world of like movies are way too long these days. I was like, damn, like that's how I knew. I was like, this movie's fantastic.
And shout out to Angelou Ellis as the mom. Who told Richard about himself quite a few times.
Yeah, she's gonna get looked over, but she needs to not get looked over. She did very well.
She needs to get nominated too, to be honest.
What about you, Amanda, with those two, King Richard and Judas and the Black Messiah?
Judas and the Black Messiah blew my mind. I love that movie.
She's gonna
so
say
much.
Hawkeye episode 1 is better than King Richard.
No, I'm not. No, are you kidding? No way. No. But like Judas and the Black Messiah, I love what Shaka King did with it, and like Kaluuya, holy, like, oh my god, like powerhouse. But I like the story. I love the way it was executed, and I think that's why I'm gonna choose that over King Richard.
So you, Griff.
What you got, man?
King Richard. I like Judas and the Black Messiah. I don't love Judas and the Black Messiah. I think everything with Fred Hampton is perfect, but that's kind of the story I was more interested in seeing, not the story that they told. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
That's fair.
I saw Shaka King at the Nets game the other day too. Randomly, I was like, "Damn!"
really?
I didn't even fanboy out. Like, man, let me leave this guy alone.
You just did like the little acknowledgement. You're like, he's there. That's good.
He's
like,
a black man head nod.
Super random, Chris, but is it true that KD's ankles are that ashy in person? Since you saw
honestly,
him,
bro, like that's why we don't allow that kind of stuff in Golden State, bro. That's why we gotta get that guy out of here, bro. Like
gotta get some lotion on them legs, KD.
That's insane, bro. Like you're a millionaire.
You're a millionaire. Can't afford some lotion, bro. I guess
That's
Kyrie.
crazy,
is
bro.
just, yeah, I don't know. Maybe Kyrie's against lotion, so maybe.
And it's not even like real winter yet. Like, imagine when we get to, anyway.
Anyway, guys, as you can see, we can nerd out about sports, anything else, and everything in between. And I appreciate every single one of these people on the panel and everyone watching us at home. Again, guys, before you leave, make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe to Amanda, Chris, Griffin, follow them, do all that great stuff. You guys will not be disappointed. But hey, you guys have a great rest of your day. Like Chris said, if you celebrate Thanksgiving, have a good time with whether it's yourself, your family, your friends. Be thankful for what we get every day and all that fun stuff. So, guys, you've been awesome, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Respect.